In Boston, at long last, this was supposed to be the year. Yet the Red Sox season now seems eerily familiar. Early season hopes, late season disappointment. While perhaps familiar, this season has been particularly frustrating. The Sox ravaged by injuries. A turbulent clubhouse, and finally, the manager fired. And through it all, until this week, the Dirt Dogs, under new skipper Joe Kerrigan, stayed alive. But now, it is September, and the three-time defending champion Yankees are threatening to finish them off. Tonight, the Sox turn to David Cone, who will attempt to keep the flame lit against his old team, and Mike Mussina, as the Red Sox battle the end of hope. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel. Tonight, it's the renewal of the ancient hostilities. Those old-time rivals, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, in Boston's Back Bay at historic Fenway Park. The Red Sox were already in desperate straits when the Yankees arrived, and Roger Clemens, the former Sox star, was outstanding. His best stuff maybe all year long. But Clemens went into the late innings trailing when the Red Sox handed the game over to their bullpen, and Jorge Posada hit a two-run homer, and the Yankees won. Then Pedro Martinez, with the Red Sox just having to have a win, and he left with a shutout, but again the bullpen gave it up. Bernie Williams hitting a homer, and again in the ninth inning, the Yankees were a winner. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. And so the Yankees with two come-from-behind wins in a row, and now they're going for the jugular with a win tonight. Boston will be 9 games out. And David Cone is on the mound for the Boston Red Sox against his old mates. And, of course, for the Red Sox, I mean, they must win, and they do have quite a few games left with the Yankees, another 4-game series next week.
Well, John, we can build this up and say it's a big game, but this is the game for the Boston Red Sox. The reality of the situation is this. If they lose tonight's ball game, they're 9 games behind the Yankees with 27 to go. You're not going to catch the Yankees in that situation, even though you have 4 games with them next weekend. So they have to win this ball game. They've lost 7 games in a row. So they're going to have to get their bullpen straight tonight. They're going to have to hit tonight. They're going to have to do all of these things in this next 24 hours, or they can start worrying about next year.
All right. Now, for the Red Sox, as we said, David Cone trying to snap a 7-game losing streak. That's the longest in 4 years for the Red Sox. Cone is 8-3 after going through his worst year ever last year with the Yankees, and he'll be up against Mike Mussina, who, other than the wins and losses, his other numbers, hits, innings pitched, earned run average, are almost identical to Roger Clemens, who is 18-1.
Well, I think if you're the Boston Red Sox, you say, hey, I'd like to have David Cone on the mound going against his old teammates, the Yankees. This is a team that he can pitch well against because he knows all the hitters. He knows how to pitch everyone there. And in the case of Mussina, this guy is one of the best pitchers in the league. He's proven that for the last few years. The only difference between him and Roger Clemens this year is production. As far as I'm concerned, he's pitched very well, but the bullpen hasn't pitched as well for him in the late innings, and they haven't scored as many runs. They scored almost 2+ runs a game for Roger Clemens, more than Mike Mussina.
All right, so that's the story. Nomar Garciaparra out of the lineup on the disabled list. And the Yankees will, of course, have Derek Jeter in there. Jeter having a great second half of the season. The Yankees all-star shortstop. And Manny Ramirez will be in there for the Red Sox, trying to get them going.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Red Zone from Old Spice, intense protection for intense people.
Fenway Park, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. It's the Yankees and the Red Sox. Game 3 of the series. The Yankees going for the sweep. And be sure and remember now that the Game of the Week is also available nationwide on the ESPN radio network and is televised in Spanish throughout the United States on ESPN Deportes. And coming up on Sunday Night Baseball in our Batter's Notebook section, Joe Morgan will analyze the many common traits of baseball's greatest hitters. And we'll continue with a Sunday Night Baseball exclusive, the K-Zone, which creates a 3D virtual strike zone. The crosshairs activate to where the pitch enters the zone. And that'll give us a good idea for where the pitcher's going with pitches and the battle between the pitcher and the batter. Now, the Nextel batting order for Joe Torre's New York Yankees. Chuck Knobloch up there at the top, and then Jeter, Justice, a lot of familiar names in there for the Yankees.
But the reason the Yankees, in my opinion, have done so well this year has been Tino Martinez. When he got hot, he was just started to carry the Yankees for a stretch there where they were struggling. He's also the guy that leads them in home runs and RBIs. You would not know that because they've been talking about him leaving at the beginning of the season, since the beginning of the season. And there you see David Cohn's numbers. I think the key thing here tonight will be walks and how well he stays ahead of these Yankees hitters, because they know him. They know he has a four-seam fastball, two-seam fastball, a sinker, and he has that Laredo slider, he calls it. He drops down to the right-handers with a curveball and also a splitter. He has a lot of pitches to work with.
And there's a called strike to Chuck Knobloch as we get started. 38-year-old David Cohn of Kansas City.
John, the last time he pitched against the Yankees, he tried to establish his fastball early in the ball game, and he did a pretty good job when he could throw strikes. He established to them that he would throw him a fastball and then come after him with his sliders or curveballs or splitters. But he used the fastball to set everything up last time, and I thought he was pitching well that time, but he was a little erratic with his control. So if he has control and he goes after him with the fastball, I expect him to do pretty well.
He's quickly ahead of Knobloch, 0-2. He struck him out on 3 pitches.
This is exactly the same way he started the ball game against him that we did here earlier. He threw a fastball for a strike, then he threw a slider, and then he struck him out with a splitter. These are exactly the same 3 pitches that he threw to Knobloch to lead off the game. We started here earlier in the season. They struck him out in that at-bat as well. And here's the defense. Mike Lansing, of course, playing shortstop. No Mark Garcia-Parra out on the disabled list, and they're not sure if he's going to return this year or not. I guess it'll depend on where the Boston Red Sox are when it is time for him to come off the disabled list.
Derek Jeter. Jeter hitting .315, 18 homers, 65 runs batted in, and that's too low from Cohn. Cohn, who originally came to the Yankees in mid-season of 1995. And without him that year, they probably would not have made the playoffs as a wild card team. And that check swing and that big slider you're talking about, Joe, and a foul by Jeter. Nomar not in the lineup tonight. And on the disabled list, that wrist that needed surgery and put him on the disabled list for most of the season. He got back, played 21 games. The wrist was giving him problems. And finally, they determined the only way for him to get better was to rest, and whether he'll be back at all the rest of the year remains to be seen. 2 balls and a strike now to Derek Jeter.
And it has to be killing Nomar not to be able to play in this series and play in this season because he's set out so long. But this is, you know, what you live for as a player, to play in the big games against your rival and the other teams that you're trying to catch in the division.
Playing Boston's shortstop position tonight. Lansing with a high throw, and Jeter hustling up the line is safe.
I don't know how they're going to score that. Jeter, I think he was going to beat it out anyway because Lansing was playing a little deeper than he should have been. They're scoring it in an error, but he was playing a little deeper than he should have been, and Jeter got out of the box well. I'm not sure. Now watch this play. I'm not sure a good throw would have had Jeter. See how deep he is? And it takes him so long to get rid of it. Yeah, I guess he would have had him. It would have been very close, but he was too deep. When you have to take a routine ground ball on the run like that, it means you're too deep.
I don't know that they would have got it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The way he was so deep, John, if you have to take a ground ball at shortstop like that on the dead run when it's hit routine ground ball, then you're playing too deep.
To me, that has to be a hit.
I thought it was a hit, too.
Because if he had set himself to make the throw, no question Jeter would have beaten him.
Yeah, but if he makes a good throw.
It was not ordinary effort, is what I'm saying.
No, I agree with you.
He charged, he made an off-balance throw, and it was bang-bang as it was.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because, first of all, he was just too deep. He started too deep to make that play.
I mean, I'd be the last person in the world to disagree with an official scorer, unlike you, who's always getting all over him. And if somebody asks me about it, I'll say, yeah, Joe disagreed with the guy. I felt bad about it.
All right, see where he is? Look how deep he is. And for a guy like Jeter that runs well, he should be in a couple of more steps. Now watch, see how he's just too deep. Now, Jeter's already out of the box, and when you have to charge a ball that hard and then get rid of it that quickly on a routine ground ball at shortstop, that means that just tells you he started too deep. I didn't know where he started, to be honest with you, before we showed that, but I knew that he had to be too deep to make the play like that.
So should have been scored. Here's Justice.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm just
Lansing's under. But that's a put out for Lansing. That's why I'm going to score it. 2 down.
Let's take a look at this pitch to Justice. Good pitch. Fastball running in, and Justice is late on it. Actually loses his bat as well. Watch this. The bat flies out of his hand, and luckily it doesn't reach the stands. But you can see Justice didn't even look where the pop-up went. He looked to see if he was going to injure anyone, because he knew that he released the bat. Good fastball in under the hands. If you can pitch David Justice, there are a lot of hitters for that fact. In fact, you can get them out. Good pitches by Cone.
Now Bernie Williams. He hit the home run yesterday. That was the game winner in the 9th inning against Uget Urbina. And the slider is low for ball 1. Bernie hitting .315, 21 homers, 82 batted in. This is the season of his discontent. Bernie Williams, who went first through the illness of his father and then the death of his father, and went through a lot of personal torment and sadness, and is not quite over it just yet. But now baseball is sort of his refuge from all of that. And Jeter runs.
And no chance.
And he steals it easily.
Well, Cone has a slow delivery to the plate, and the Yankees do that. I mean, they run. They force you into mistakes. That's why this is such a good ball club. They have more than one way to beat you, and they're all veterans. Watch this jump. See how good a jump he has? No chance as Oliver comes up and fires a strike. Watch, he throws it right on the bag, but Jeter's already in there. Not even close at second base.
26 steals for Derek Jeter. And the stolen base is a big part of the Yankees game. That's their 145th steal of the year. Bernie to the right side. Merloni, the second baseman. And the inning is over with Bernie really hustling up the line. 1 man left. Now Mike Mussina will take the mound against the Red Sox. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The Yankees nothing, and the Red Sox coming up at sold-out Fenway Park. Here's the Nextel batting order for the Red Sox, with Trot Nixon leading it off for a new manager, Joe Kerrigan, managing his 17th game for the Red Sox. And as they point out many times here in Boston, it's the 17th different batting order in those games.
Well, this is not the batting order they envisioned at the beginning of the season. You have Alcantara hitting in the spot of Nomar Garcia-Parra, Ramirez, and Bichette. Bichette has been hot lately, but Ramirez has been struggling since the All-Star break. So Ramirez was the key to this ball club early in the year. He was the one that kept them afloat, and he has been struggling lately, and they have been struggling to score runs. And there's Mike Mussina. You mentioned the numbers are very close to Roger Clemens, you know, in far as, you know, earned run average, innings pitched, strikeouts and such. But the Yankees have averaged 6.4 runs for Clemens and 4.1 for Mussina in the games that they've started. And the bullpen's 3.56 with Mussina and less than 2 when Roger Clemens is pitched. That makes a big difference in the wins and losses.
Here is Trot Nixon leading it off for the Red Sox. And it's off the outside as Mussina with ball 1.
Actually, the bullpen for Mussina has been almost 4 at 3.92 and 1.47 for Clemens.
And so
big difference.
There's a lot of things year in and year out that go into wins and losses for pitchers. That's a curveball, the knuckle curve from Mussina in for a strike. I mean, Clemens himself, the last 4 years he was with the Red Sox, was 40 and 39. And the Red Sox felt that, I think as Dan Duquette, the general manager, said at that time, that he was in the twilight of his career. And he went on to Toronto.
He's had a long twilight, hasn't he?
And it's one of the greatest twilights in history.
Cy Young Awards.
He might win his 3rd Cy Young since passing into the twilight. He's 18-1 this year, but that's the point, right? I mean, a starting pitcher can do so much, and then there are other factors, some out of his control, that add up to wins and losses. And Clemens said, hey, I don't know how. Well, in fact, I think Clemens actually put a number to it. 25, 30, 40, 50 more wins than he'd had if he'd had Mariano Rivera on his team all the years that he had pitched.
I think a lot of pitchers could say that, though. But I understand what he meant. He was exactly right.
And down on strikes is Trot Nixon, and there is one away.
Well, Nixon led off the game yesterday with a home run against El Duque, and that was the only run that the Red Sox were able to
the shortstop
score yesterday. And let's take a look at the defense. Of course, Randy Velarde over here at third base is the new addition. He was just acquired by the Yankees from Texas, and this will be his 6th start of the season at third base. Is, of course, the first one for the Yankees. And there's Velarde. He was with the Yankees years ago, and he left just before they started winning all those championships.
Velarde
left as a free agent.
Came up with the Yankees 1987. There's a called strike to Mike Lansing. Pretty good pickup for the Yankees, by the way. And some around baseball were kind of stunned that he got through waivers to the Yankees. Some thought maybe the Red Sox would have blocked him. That's a little bit low with a fastball from Mussina to Lansing.
I think
it's
a good pickup for 2 reasons, John. They do not know exactly when Brocious is coming back, and this is actually Brocious' contract. He would be a free agent at the end of the season as well, so they may need him not just for the remainder of this year, but next year as well. Although they have prospects in the minor leagues that they think are ready for the major leagues, but you never know about that situation until they perform.
Good breaking ball from Mussina there. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Lansing. No score in the game. Last of the first. All the games of this series have been really tight. The Yankees have been shut out into the 8th inning in both of the first 2 games of the series. Mussina got him looking.
And that looked like a hard breaking ball, and he doesn't really throw a slider normally, but that looked more like a slider than anything else. Now watch where this pitch starts off the plate inside. Look at that, and then it just breaks on the inside corner, right on the corners. You can see that breaking motion. It looks like a curveball spin, but it looked a little sharper than his normal curveball, flatter and sharper.
Well, Mussina, I remember in his Baltimore days, he had 2 different curveballs. One was more of a sharp dropping curve. One was more of a sweeping curve.
Well, that was more of a slider, sliding across curve anyway.
And that's a curveball for a strike to Alcantara. Izzy Alcantara, who had tied the Pawtucket Red Sox club record with 36 home runs this year. 2 down, nobody on. Big and strong. Right to Jeter. So Mussina with a very quick and quiet first inning. No score. We go to the second. Tino Martinez and Jorge Posada coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. No score after 1 from Fenway Park.
John, I'm going to show you this young kid swing, and then I'll tell you more about it later on. Just watch this swing. Watch his head, watch his hands, and watch. He, just like Jeff Bagwell, lifts his foot up, puts it right back down. Head stays in the same place. Great hand action, and he rips the baseball. And we'll tell you why that's important later on when, as the game progresses along. I'll tell you why it's important.
Tino Martinez grounds 1 foul, leading off for the Yankees in the second inning. That's Israel Alcantara, 28 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Been around a long while. Originally signed all the way back in 1992 by the Montreal Expos. Whose general manager at that time was one Dan Duquette, who later brought him here to the Red Sox organization as the Red Sox GM. A foul by Tino Martinez out of play. 0-2 the count.
John, Tino Martinez has been the key to this Yankees ball club this year. I mean, he is having a fantastic year. 29 home runs, 96 runs batted in. He leads the Yankees with both categories.
And he got himself a base hit right here against David Cone.
And you can see, if you watch real close, you can see the pattern that David Cone has against all these Yankee hitters, and he'll stick with that pattern throughout the night. Well, he wanted to jam Martinez after throwing him a few breaking balls. All the fastballs he threw, see the target inside? All the fastballs are supposed to be in. That ball got a little bit more of the plate than he wanted because he was ahead in the count, but that's exactly where he wants to pitch Martinez and David Justice, and he wants to stay away from Bernie Williams and some of the other hitters.
Here is Jorge Posada. He slammed a foul ball down off his left big toe last Sunday in Anaheim. He was afraid that he had broken it. He takes a called strike. It's 0-1. Posada did the x-rays, I guess, the next day, and it came up negative. And they gave a little protection, which he disdained. Said, I don't want it. He's been playing ever since, and he got the game-winning home run in the 8th inning here Friday night. Perhaps the back-breaking home run for the Red Sox.
Well, you have to be very tough to be a catcher. There's no doubt about that. To be a big league catcher, you've got to have a high pain threshold.
You never caught, did you?
I was a little smarter than that. And I didn't like pain.
And Cone just misses off the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. But now the Red Sox had shut out the Yankees into the 8th inning in each of the first 2 games of this series and still lost those games. And that is the first time, Joe, in their history that has ever happened. That here at home, they shut out a team, the same team, into the 8th inning, 2 straight games, and still lost both games.
Well, Castillo and Martinez both shut the Yankees out for 7 innings. Castillo only allowed them 2 base hits on Friday night, but they still were not able to win. They took him out after 7, which is a point of debate here in Boston.
Changed up, struck him out.
Well, if you watch David Cone, he told you exactly how he wants to pitch Posada as well. He doesn't want to throw him a fastball. He wants to get Posada out with off-speed pitches. And here's the finisher. There's that little splitter down and away. He threw him a curveball to start it off. He threw him a changeup, and he threw him another splitter, and there's a splitter to finish it. He does not want to have to throw a fastball to Posada. And I find it very interesting myself, just as an observer, to see how he attacks each one of these Yankee hitters.
Especially Posada, his old battery mate. Posada has not yet had a hit against David Cone.
Well,
you would think that he's the catcher. He'd know more about him than anybody, that he'd have an advantage.
But also David Cone knows about Posada, and he's throwing the baseball. The pitcher always has an advantage.
Paul O'Neill. O'Neill with 20 home runs, and, I mean, that's not so extraordinary. Actually, it's a pretty good year for O'Neill, one of his best home run years in a while, but he's also had 22 steals.
And only been caught 3 times. Now, that's extraordinary.
I mean, especially for a guy his age. Not that I'm...
Look at that. The oldest player in the history of baseball with 2020.
You didn't do 2020 by that age?
How old is he?
Yeah, 53.
I don't think I was playing that long.
No, Paul O'Neill is 38 years old.
Well, I was playing at that age, but I wasn't stealing 20 bases.
You know, really,
hitting 20 home runs.
And I think the other thing is that he's in better shape at age 38.
Oh, wait a minute now.
Sharply hit the second, should be 2. Nice pickup there by Maloney, and they get the double play. Maloney to Lansing to Daubach. So O'Neill grounds into a pair. Manny Ramirez coming up. Yankees nothing, Red Sox nothing. Football fans, this fall, all ESPN Sunday night NFL football games will be telecast in Spanish on ESPN Deportes.
Amigos del fútbol americano, la jornada dominical de la NFL se puede ver todos los domingos a través de ESPN Deportes. Para obtener ESPN Deportes, llame a su operador de cable local. Para más información, conéctese a espndeportes.com.
To get ESPN Deportes, contact your local cable operator or satellite provider. Join Eduardo Varela and Fuad Rives, who will bring you the games in Espanol. And for more information,
there's Candy Maldonado.
It's not those guys. Ernesto Jerez. La voz de béisbol en ESPN Deportes. Con ESPN Deportes.
That's the best fastball that Mussina has thrown in this ball game.
But Manny is he's not been hitting well lately. His average is down to 307. He's got 39 homers, 111 RBIs. But he really struggled for most of the month of August. And he hit only 234 in August. 0-2 the count. Oh, man. Strike 3 called, and Ramirez knew it. Well, Mussina didn't fool around with a breaking ball or any other. They came right back with another hard one.
Well, that's what makes Mussina so tough, John, is that he has 2 quality pitches with which he can get you out with, and that's the good fastball and, of course, the knuckle curve. With 2 strikes, he just paints the outside corner right on the edge. Strike 3 call. And I think one of the things that the K-Zone has showed us is that these umpires are pretty good on those corners in most cases.
Yeah.
I mean, that ball was right on the corner. Remember, the K-Zone is accurate to 0.4 of an inch.
There's Dante Bichette, and he bounces one foul into the Yankees dugout. No score, second inning. So you were talking about Mike Mussina, and he has received the 6th lowest amount of run support of any pitcher in either league this year. And, I mean, much less than the Yankees staff as a whole. And as you mentioned, over 2 runs less per game than they've given Roger Clemens in his starts. The bullpen has also done games better for Clemens and for Mussina. You mentioned all of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's who you face, your opposite number, that will determine some of that. You see the wins and losses not even close, but look, the ERA very close, the innings pitched, the hits allowed, all very close, and he's walked a lot fewer guys than Roger Clemens has.
The only thing I will say is sometimes statistics can be a little misleading in that, you know, maybe Roger has pitched and held the team down until they scored the 6 runs. For instance, he may pitch 6 innings, only give up 1 run, and be winning 1-0, and all of a sudden his team scores 5 or 6. So, I mean, sometimes statistics not tell the whole story, but obviously Mussina has pitched very well.
Bichette down on strikes, chasing that curveball way out of the strike zone, and Mussina has struck out 4 of the first 5 hitters.
Well, you mentioned his breaking ball, and I mean, you can see him. I mean, that's just he's completely fooled here by this pitch. Bichette is. I mean, that's the big breaking curveball down and away. And Mussina seems to have his best stuff with him tonight, and the main thing, he seems to have excellent control. We've seen him hit the inside corner a couple of times and the outside corner.
Now Brian Daubach, just recently back from the disabled list. Fastball in there for a called strike. That's the 18th pitch thrown by Mussina. 15 of them have been for strikes.
And John, sometimes you have your good control on the inside corner or the outside corner. He has his control on both sides of the plate so far in this ballgame.
So it's been a trademark of Mussina. He's always had excellent control. Very few walks. Gets ahead of the hitters. The fastball fouled away. But I want to get back to this thing I was making a point about, Joe. Listen to some of the names of pitchers that Mussina has gone up against this year. Jamie Moyer, the Seattle, 16 wins. Eric Milton has been the top winner for the Minnesota Twins. Greg Maddux, one of the great pitchers of his time. Mark Mulder, he won number 17 today for Oakland. And Pedro Martinez, he's faced him twice.
He did beat him once, though. I remember that in Yankee Stadium. The one thing that happens, John, and it may sound like a very small thing to fans, but when Joe Torre did not pitch Roger Clemens against the Mets and moved him to another day, that changes the matchups for the rest of the season, not just for that particular weekend. It changed the matchups that you have for the remainder of the season. And Roger has pitched great, so, I mean, he's taken advantage of it. I mean, Roger's 18-1. You don't get there by just being lucky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, luck plays a little bit into it. He was behind 1-0 here Friday night. I mean, if the Yankees had not ever scored, he wouldn't have gotten his 18th win. But they did. They came back and got a couple of runs in the 8th inning on the Jorge Posada home run against the Boston bullpen.
Well, I agree. I mean, look, when you're having a good year, it's kind of like a hitter, John. If you're swinging the bat well and you're hitting 340, your line drives go in for base hits. If you're hitting 240, they catch your line drives. I mean, that's the way the game goes.
Off the outside, 3-2 now.
But those names you mentioned only, I would say only Pedro Martinez and Greg Maddux at this point in their careers should match up well against Mussina. I mean, he is one of the top pitchers in the game. The other guys are going to be there. Milton,
well, I was just going through the guys with the letter M.
Yeah, right.
Here's the pitch, 3-2 pitch, popped up, fouled round. Mussina coming over, but this one will land in amongst the spectators, out of play. Still 3-2.
So you got some more in there?
Oh, we could go. We could. Which letter? Pick a letter. But one thing about Mussina, though, when the Yankees have scored at least 4 runs in his starts, you know what their record is? 11-0. Has not lost any of those games. His personal record is 10-0 in those games. But they have scored 3 runs or less in 17 of Mussina's starts this year. That's only happened in Clemens' starts 7 times. And that's out of play. Clemens is 18-1. Never in the history of the American League as a pitcher had an 18-1 record to start a year. I mean, 18-1 is pretty self-explanatory. The guy's pitching well. Let's face it. He's won 14 consecutive decisions, tying the Yankees all-time record. Mention of Mussina, the lack of runs at times. Strike 3 call on the outside. Mussina strikes out the side. He has struck out 5 in the first 2 innings. No score. Randy Velarde coming up for the Yankees.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by the makers of Reason Candy. Mighty Chocolatey, Mighty Reason. You gotta try them. And by Sears. The good life at a great price, guaranteed.
Yankees nothing, Red Sox nothing as we start the top of the 3rd inning. David Cohn and Mike Mussina matched up here.
We were talking about, he tells you how he wants to pitch. Watch a curveball to Posada. There's a changeup away, a splitter. And here comes another slider. He never throws him a fastball in this at bat. There's the splitter again to finish it off. So that tells you that he does not want to throw Posada a fastball unless he has to. So you can watch for that for the rest of the night unless he gets way ahead.
Now Randy Velarde. Now when Mussina first came to the Yankees in 1995, Velarde was a Yankee. But Velarde said that he kind of kicked himself ever since he left the Yankees as a free agent. He took a nice offer to go to the Angels. He said part of the reason was because they offered him a regular job, but also he thought that the Yankees were not going to be good enough to do what they actually proved to be good enough to do. They won the World Series the very year that he left. Velarde pops out to Merlone, and there is one away.
And you hear that little fake clap there. That's because in yesterday's ball game, it was a ball that was dropped in the outfield there that dropped in for a double that they felt like someone should have caught, either the second baseman or the right fielder.
And Chris Steins was the second baseman. He took the blame for it, as Carl Everett was in right field. It was a critical play on a ball hit by this man, Alfonso Soriano. Soriano, new into the Yankees mix this year out of their farm system. 16 homers, 29 doubles. He's got 38 steals. He leads the club in steals. And Joe Torre said that it's remarkable the amount of knowledge he has accumulated from the start of the season till now.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with his relationship with Willie Randolph. Willie Randolph is his biggest booster. I was talking to Willie before the game, and he basically said that the great thing about him is he has quickness. He said that he can set it into a second stage when he takes off to steal a base or when he's running the base. He has another gear. And he said that basically, like Joe said, he's willing to learn. He wants to learn. He said he's come a long way since the beginning of the season, but he has a lot of potential. He can be a big star before all this is over. He said especially offensively, he's still learning, at second base because he was a shortstop, but he is going to be a special player. That's what Willie Randolph said he should know.
And Soriano's only 23 years old. Hits one high and deep toward the wall. Back at the wall, under it now is Alcantara, and he makes the catch. So Soriano falls a little bit short. 2 down. Now here's an update with Dave Revson.
Okay, John, thanks a lot. Nextel taking us to L.A. Cards and Dodgers, top of the second. Mike Matheny laying down the squeeze. Jim Edmonds scores as Matheny gets thrown out. It's 1-0 Cards. That's what stands bottom of the second. And it is still going in San Diego. Diamondbacks and Padres scoreless. Top of the 12th. Back to John and Joe at Fenway.
Wow. Amazing game there in the San Diego.
Big game for Arizona and the Giants.
The Giants won today. They started today 3 back of Arizona in the National League West. The Cardinals are in the Central Division, but they're also very much in a race with the Giants and Dodgers and Cubs in the wild card race. A whole new division. Chuck Knobloch swung and missed at that high fastball. You saw Cone reach back, got a little extra on that one. 91 miles an hour.
John, you can see the difference. He will throw fastballs to Knobloch, Jeter, and some of these other hitters. He just doesn't want to throw it to Posada. And now that he's gotten ahead of Knobloch, you watch he'll do something tricky.
Yeah, well, he tried to trick him with a fastball
on the outside edge. He tried to hit the outside corner, but if he was going to miss, he was going to miss away. There's Joe Kerrigan. He was the pitching coach, and now he is the manager of the Red Sox.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Knobloch. 2 down, nobody on. David Cone with the Red Sox. Into the hole. Lansing knocks it down, picks it up, and has no play. So that will be.
Well, we'll see how they score this one. You said the other one was a base hit.
I'm giving him an error on this one.
And we'll see how this one is. Maybe it'll be even for the day. This ball definitely has to be caught. Whether he throws him out or not is a different story. But watch, this ball is not hitting the hole. See, this ball is almost right at him, but he tried to get the big hop, which he did do, but he wasn't able to make the catch. And it is scored as an error.
He's been charged with 2 errors now. Knobloch is aboard. Chuck Knobloch, who has 35 steals this year. This seems like a stolen base spot, Joe.
Well, it definitely is. It's just a matter of which pitch he can get the jump on.
The Jeter is aggressive at the plate. And Jeter takes a called strike on the outside. A breaking ball, and it is 0-1. Jeter.
I think Jeter expects Knobloch to go on this first pitch. Watch how he takes this pitch, John. It's a breaking ball over the outside, but watch Jeter lean out there. That's what you do to try to help protect the base runner if he's stealing a base. I think he felt like Knobloch was going on that pitch.
Cone with a move to first. Knobloch is back. No score. We're in the 3rd inning. Yankees came in here and won the first 2 games. They also won their previous game before this series, an extra inning game with the Blue Jays. But before that, through much of the month of August, they had been really mediocre. He's not running. And Jeter with a bounding ball to short. And Lansing gets this one over to Merlone, and the inning is over. So 1 error and 1 left. Shea Hillenbrand coming up for Boston. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. We're in Boston's Back Bay. No score in the game. Here is Shea Hillenbrand, who will try and become the first Red Sox base runner. They've not been able to get anybody on against Mussina. They've hardly made contact as Mussina curves him for a called strike. Mussina has faced 6 hitters and struck out 5 of them. The only man that actually put the ball in play against him was Alcantara, the rookie, who lined one to short. So here is Hillenbrand, another young Red Sox player, 271 average. Just inside. Red Sox had a lot of injuries this year, including to the guy that might have been more or less a regular third baseman, John Valentin. And Hillenbrand has played a lot, 10 homers, 44 batted in. He goes up there to hack though, Joe.
Yeah, he's not looking for a walk.
Derek Jeter throws him out, and there is 1 away. So 1 man gone. Hillenbrand put it in play. The batter will be Lou Merlone. There's the look from way back under the overhang here at Fenway on the third base side. Been folks watching from that point of view since all the way back in 1912. That's when Fenway Park first opened. And there's talk about building a new Fenway. There's several groups, I think there's as many as 9 groups who have made bids to buy the Red Sox from the Yankee Foundation, or at least the controlling interest in the current partnership, 53% of the club. And that will go on, I guess, for a while yet. But I know at least one of those groups, Joe, was reported to feel that instead of building a new ballpark, that they could remodel this ballpark. Maloney, Jeter throws him out. Out number 2. 2 men gone. And the look from high above Fenway Park, provided by the Saturn Lightship. Saturn's new airship is proud to bring you these overhead views of historic Boston and Fenway Park. From the Charles River to Boston Harbor, Saturn is hoping that you enjoy the view and Major League Baseball. We're glad to have him with us, Joe. You see Fenway with the very unique contours. Always a great part of this ballpark. Here's Joe Oliver, who began the year with the Yankees. And word is that as soon as they called him up, when the rosters expanded yesterday, I mean, they sent a car and a driver over to the airport to bring him in, which is a little bit unusual, right, for a September call-up? But they wanted him not to get stuck in traffic or any other such thing, because they wanted to pick his brain about what he knew about the Yankee pitchers and even their hitters. Joe Oliver is thrown out by Soriano, and Mike Mussina has been perfect through the first 3. The power's coming up with the Yankees now. Justice, then Bernie Williams, and Tino Martinez. Into the 4th, still scoreless. ESPN Game Track. We've got 2 outstanding pitchers going. Mike Mussina for the Yankees. He's had 5 strikeouts and has been perfect through the first 3. And David Cone, 38 years old, facing the Yankees in a desperation game. He's been outstanding. The only hit he has allowed was this single in the 2nd inning to Tino Martinez. And now we pick up the action in the 4th inning at Fenway Park. The numbers 3, 4, 5 hitters, Justice, Williams, and Martinez. The big power is up for New York.
And this is the 2nd time through the order. Let's see if David Cone changes. He was in tight on David Justice the first time up. Yes, he is changing. As he starts him with a breaking ball this time instead of a fastball on the hands. And that's what you do as a hit pitcher. You know that the hitter remembers how you got him out, so he may be looking for that pitch. So you change the 2nd time up, then you change even the 3rd time up if you're still in the ball game. And the 4th time up, you go to what has worked for you earlier in the ball game.
1-1 to Justice. Low on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now, Justice ended up with 41 homers last year. He was a significant midseason pickup by the Yankees for the stretch run. Really added a great deal of power to their lineup. But this year, he's had slumps, he's had injuries, and has only 17 home runs. Right there on the outside edge. Nice pitch by Cone. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And you see what he's done. He got him out, jammed him the first time up. Now he stayed away from him because he knows Justice was looking for that pitch inside.
All right, so if you're Justice now, what are you thinking here?
Well, if you're Justice, you say, well, he's staying away from me, and you may have to go out there and try to get something. And that'll allow him to come inside again. See, this is why it's...
That's what they did with the slider.
See, this is why it's, even in a 1-0 game or a low-scoring ball game, it can be interesting if you watch the pitcher-batter matchup and realize what they're doing and how they change and how hitters make adjustments. And that's why I enjoy the game so much.
Back outside. This time he did go out to cover up and bounced it foul. 2-2. Well, Joe, that's one way to do it. We could watch for all those things, or we could have you watch it and just tell us about it.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I'll try.
All right.
But you can, clearly see how he approached him this time as compared to last time. He was inside, tried to get him out tight, and then he goes away. Now he's going back away again.
I had to remember that until you pointed it out. Ooh, the big sharp curveball, but right to Daubach, and he gets the unassisted putout. So Justice is 0 for 2 against David Cone.
Let's take a look at this at bat using K-zone and see. See, he's going to go away. Got him outside the first time up. I'm on the inside part of the plate, and you can see he's starting away, and then he'll go off the plate inside, go back outside, and you see this swing that Justice is taking there. He's reaching for the ball. because even unconsciously, you still remember that he jammed you the first time up.
Well, Justice and Cone, they've been facing each other many a year. And Justice has still not figured out David Cone. Here's Bernie Williams. Curveball, a strike. David Justice now has 4 hits in 27 lifetime at-bats against Cone. And Bernie Williams, that's another story. He grounded out his first time tonight, but Bernie is 7 for 23, so he's had a little bit of success. That's not bad if you're a pitcher facing Bernie.
Well, if you can keep a lot of these guys in the ballpark, you feel like you've done your job if you're an opposing pitcher.
Another curveball, too low. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bernie Williams. He hit the game-winning home run here yesterday in the 9th inning against Uget Urbina. And people around the Yankees say that down the stretch, Bernie is starting to play with kind of MVP quality. Not that he's got the numbers overall this year to be an MVP candidate, but he's playing like it here down the stretch. To the big part of Fenway Park, and caught by Trot Nixon. 420 feet to that triangle-shaped area out there where the center field wall meets the bullpen wall. That is Death Valley.
Number 24.
If you hit it out there.
Well, where he wants to throw the ball, if he throws the fastball to Bernie Williams, is in tight. I don't think he wants to throw it low and in, but he wants to. The target is low and in, but he wants it in tight. He doesn't get it in enough, but he had enough on it that Bernie got jammed just a little bit and had to fight it off rather than drive it.
So not exactly a jam sandwich.
No, but he accomplished what he wanted. He kept him in the ballpark.
2 down, and that's always wise to do with Bernie Williams in a tight game. Here is Tino Martinez. He singled his first time to center field. Tino strained a groin muscle and had to miss about a week's worth of games. He's been back. He's played the last 4 games before tonight. Says he feels fine now. Tino is having a big year for the Yankees. 96 runs batted in to lead the club. He will be a free agent at the end of the year. Tino drove in only 91 runs all of last year. You know, at that point, he was 34 years old, and people thought, well, maybe his best days have passed. But he's kind of bounced back this year with 29 homers as well. Almost double the number of homers he hit all of last year. And Cone ends up walking him. First walk allowed by Cone. So with 2 down, Tino goes to first, and now Jorge Posada will come up.
Number 20, the catcher, Jorge Posada.
David Cone, I mean, how bad was his year last year when Jorge Posada was his catcher? 4 wins and 14 losses. I mean, that's bad enough. An ERA of almost 7. But it was one of the worst records ever for a team that won a World Series. Fastball for a strike at the knees. He was one of only 3 pitchers to be on a World Championship team and have an earned run average below, or not an earned run average, a winning percentage of below 30%. Remember Randy Lurch with the Phillies? He was 4-14 back in 1980 when they won it all. And John Blue Moon Odom with the Athletics, 1973, had a 29% winning percentage. He was 5-12 that year. Cone matched Lurch for the worst winning percentage. And Cone got into that World Series, faced 1 hitter, Mike Piazza, in the final game and retired him. That's how he went out as a Yankee. Got Piazza, they held the lead, and the Mets never did score. Lost the ball game. In fact, Cone and Denny Nagel both pitched their last for the Yankees in that game. Nagel was the man that Cone relieved with Piazza coming up. 1-2. Big cut there on a breaking ball by Posada. This is that game we're talking about, Joe. 5th inning. Nagel was kind of shocked to see Cone coming on. But Cone got it done. And Luis Sojo caught that pop-up and later would break the hearts of the Mets as he, in Game 5 of that World Series, drove in the winning run against Al Leiter. 1-2 the count. Fenway Park. I mean, people around here really thought this was going to be the year for the Red Sox. We got Manny Ramirez. As soon as they signed Ramirez, huge lines were forming at the ticket offices this winter in freezing weather.
Well, I knew they would be fun to watch with Manny along with the other players, but no one could predict all the injuries that the Red Sox would have this year.
Oh, man. Great curveball for the strikeout. Posada has struck out twice. Only one hit for the Yankees. We'll go to the last of the 4th inning now. The top of the order for Boston. Cone and Mussina tied at 0. Darryl Kyle and Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown back from the disabled list, his second start, but the Cardinals put some runs on the board against him. Darryl Kyle, a 20-game winner last year, looking for number 14 this year. If the Cardinals win that game, they will catch the Dodgers. In fact, they will. Yeah, they will catch the Dodgers in the wild card standings over there in the National League. Got so many races in the National League going, it's hard to keep track of all of them. But the 3 division races, which are all up in the air yet, plus the wild card race, there are 8 teams going for the 4 playoff spots in the National League right now. All 8 of them very much alive. 2-1 to Trot Nixon. Now Nixon in the lineup against Mussina, even though he has never hit well, he is 1 for 23 in his career against Mussina. And right to Tino. And that's out number 1. That's 10 in a row retired by Mussina. No Red Sox has yet reached base in this game. 1 down, nobody out, and Mike Lansing comes up. Meanwhile, in the American League, Joe, things are starting to come into focus right now. I mean, we know Seattle. I think they're going to win the West.
I think you're right.
I mean, they haven't clinched it yet, but they have an 18-game lead over Oakland. And Oakland, in the wild card race, started today with a 7-game advantage over Boston. And, of course, the Red Sox know that Oakland has already won its game 3-1 in Tampa Bay. Mark Mulder won his 17th. Lansing fouling one out of play. I mean, Oakland's way ahead of the wild card race in the American League. The Yankees are 8 games ahead of the Red Sox in the East. Cleveland is 5.5 ahead of Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is the one team that actually, at this point, seems to be still alive.
Well, as strange as it seems, I have to tell you that the White Sox are still in it because they have the games with Cleveland. I mean, it may sound strange, but they're actually as close to first place as, say, the Boston Red Sox are.
White Sox beat Cleveland today 19-10. Cleveland had 6 runs in the second inning for a 6-0 lead, and they lost by 9 runs.
It's made the White Sox mad.
White Sox is 7.5 out. Mussina, that looked like a slider. Now, Mussina will throw a slider occasionally. The first time he ever did, when he was in Baltimore, it stunned the catcher.
Well, it looks weird. That's not his rotation for his, his knuckle curve to go straight down. That one had a little flatter trajectory.
I think it was a slider.
Yeah.
The first time he ever threw it, he stunned the catcher. He said, "Where did that come from?" He said, "Well, I fiddled with it on the side. I just thought maybe it was the right pitch to throw right there."
Well, technically, he left it up in the zone, so it wasn't a good pitch in that instance, but he got away with it.
1-2 to Lansing. Changeup low. 2-2. Mike Mussina out of Stanford University. Two to Lansing. Lansing struck out looking his first time. He struck him out. The high hard one that Lansing could not hold off. 6 strikeouts for Mussina.
Well, he was set up by the changeup that Mussina threw down and in, and that allowed him to come back with a good fastball. See, the target's way off the plate outside, but he misses up and over the plate. Good hard fastball, and Lansing can't check his swing.
Well, that just Old-fashioned hardball right there.
With 2 strikes, I think you should do that a lot. If you have a good
Some
fastball.
some guys are a little better equipped to do it than others. Alcantara pops up that high fastball. Now, Alcantara is the only Red Sox hitter to make strong contact against Mussina. He drilled one, but right to the shortstop Jeter to end the first inning. Alcantara and Dan Duquette, the general manager of the Red Sox, talking about next year. I said, is there any hope ready for the farm system? And he pointed at Alcantara. Alcantara got jammed in that one, pulling it foul right over the Yankees dugout into the crowd off to the left. 0-2 the count.
Smart pitch there by Mussina. He had showed Mussina that he could handle the ball out over the plate, so he ran that ball in a little bit. And for a guy that hits from an open stance, I still believe the place to pitch him is inside, running the ball back in, because they close to get to the ball, and then that allows you to get inside.
0-2. He goes to the curveball, but misses.
I would think that, even though I haven't seen much of him, that Alcantara would be able to, get pretty good pitches to hit, because he doesn't stride a lot, so he doesn't have to commit as quickly as some of the other young players I've seen.
So he's letting his hands do the work.
Yeah.
1-2 the count. No, the curveball buckled his knees, got him looking. 12 in a row retired by Mussina, 7 with strikes. And a very impressive beginning by the veteran. Paul O'Neill coming up, no score.
No score as we go to the 5th inning. We have taken a look at a lot of batters' notebooks this year, and we're going to take a approach from head to toe of the best hitters in the game, some of the best hitters in the game. I'm going to show you their approach.
My eyes and my head have to be still. In order to hit and utilize total power, you have to see the ball out of the pitcher's hand.
When I'm hitting good in the play, I just, trust my hand. I think the main thing on hitting is just seeing the ball and trusting your hands.
I just try and have good balance and get a good pitch to hit. If you're leaning back a little bit, you can't hit. If you're leaning too far over, you're going to pull off.
And that explains head to toe, eyes, hands, and your feet, what you're supposed to do with them to be a good hitter.
Here's Paul O'Neill. And he takes ball 1 from David Cone. Now, Manny Ramirez, and you've always pointed out, he's a power hitter, hits lots of homers, drives in lots of runs, but he's much more than just a power hitter. Manny always hits for a high batting average as well. And that matter, so does Jeff Bagwell. Most of the top hitters in the game now do it all the way around.
Yeah, you're right. That's what, in my opinion, separates a lot of the players today from some of the players in the past. Either in the past they were home run hitters or they hit for high average. The players today do both. And I think a lot of that has to do with the technology in the game, that they're able to go in, they can have an at-bat in the game, going and watch a film of the at-bat and decide what they did wrong and correct it right there on the spot.
1 ball, 1 strike to O'Neill, and he fouls that one away. Got a backdoor slider there from Cone. O'Neill grounded into an inning-ending double play in the 2nd inning.
Well, he's hit Oliver twice on it with his backswing, and he looks back every time to see, he's looking at him to see if you're all right. He's hit him twice with his backswing.
Paul O'Neill. Now maybe this will be his final year. There's a lot of talk about O'Neill retiring at the end of this season. But I know O'Neill in years past, Joe, has always sort of reminded his teammates that, hey, remember how special this is, what we've been going through together, and how rare this is. It's not going to last forever.
He continued to say, at least to the first half of the season, that this was his final year. But, we'll have to wait and see. He's having a pretty, good year. He's not hitting his high for an average high. He's not hitting for as high an average as he normally does, but he's still having a good year.
Become a base dealer at a late age. The backdoor curveball, strike 3, and O'Neill didn't seem to think so. He disagreed with Mike Victor, the home plate umpire.
Number 20.
Well, let's take a look at this breaking ball. Starts way off the plate outside and basically kind of stays there. It may come around the plate, but it stays out toward the outside part of the plate. That was an interesting shot there because if we'll see it again in a second, I'll show you something.
Here's Randy Velarde, and the slider is in there for a strike. Velarde popped up to the second baseman his first time.
John, let's take a look at it when we get a chance at the second replay of that last call strike from home plate umpire Mike Fichter.
Velarde with a check swing. 1-1. No swing.
Let's take a look. See where he is? Right here. Now watch this. The ball comes over here. Now you see why he might have missed that pitch, right?
Yeah.
See, a lot of the National League umpires for years worked off the inside corner. And that's when most people felt that you had problems getting to the outside corner or reading the outside corner. And for years, the American League umpires worked directly over the plate with that big chest protector. I think, you know, to be able to see both corners is very difficult, but I think you have to try to get yourself in a position to be able to do that. See, he's on the inside part of the plate again, and that's fine. That may be the way that he wants to work.
Randy Velarde swinging and missing at that big curveball from David Cone. Cone's got 5 strikeouts.
Well, that ball there is right on the corner.
Number 33, the second
Great
base.
pitch.
That's right up in the triangle.
That's a curveball.
Yeah, right up in the triangle.
So 2 down, and here is Alfonso Soriano. But I think one of the great things about this K-zone technology, computerized technology that goes into it. Soriano looks at a slider for a strike. Is that could be used as a real teaching tool for an umpire. Two down, nobody on 0-1 the count. I mean, an umpire who is reading pitches that are off the strike zone like that for a long while could get an idea of what pitches they're missing with something like the K zone. That game in San Diego still scoreless in the 13th inning. Arizona and San Diego. The Dodgers have now gone ahead of Darryl Kyle and the Cardinals. Big game. The Dodgers don't want to fall there. I mean, they're already in third place in that wild card in the National League, back of the Cubs and the Giants, and they don't want another team to be passing them.
Well, now you see the umpire move, and that was a good shot right there. You see him move up because Joe Oliver moved more to the outside corner. He moved up straight on the home plate so that he could see the outside corner then. That was a great shot we had there to show you that. Now let's see what Oliver does. See where he is? His head's on the inside corner. Now watch him move up. See him move up? Now he's right in the middle of the plate.
Meanwhile, pop fly, out goes Lansing. Nice catch with his back to the infield. It dropped in over his shoulder and he handled it. Soriano retired. 3 up and 3 down, and David Cone with 5 one-hit shutout innings. Now Manny Ramirez, Dante Bichette, and Brian Daubach coming up for Boston. Mike Mussina, he's been perfect through the first 4 innings. The Red Sox with their top slugger at the plate, Manny Ramirez, who was called out on strikes his first time. He'll be followed by Dante Bichette and then Brian Daubach, all 3 power hitters, capable of taking one out of the ballpark. The wind, by the way, is blowing out toward left field tonight. Yesterday here at Fenway, it was blowing in from left, which is the typical breeze of autumn here at Fenway, which works against the sluggers. But not tonight. It's blowing out. The high hard one that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mussina has 7 strikeouts. And you see the flag indicating the wind blowing out toward left. Not a real hard wind at the moment. Manny Ramirez, 1 ball, 1 strike. Curveball for a called strike 2, 1-2. Ramirez came to Fenway Park. The first pitch that he saw, the first swing, as a member of the Red Sox, he hit a 3-run homer here at Fenway. Then his first Yankees-Red Sox game at Fenway. He drove in the winning runs on a base hit against Mariano Rivera, no less. That's foul off the right field side. On the downside for Manny, we told you he's been struggling really since the All-Star break. And he's had a lot of problems with the hamstring injuries. He's injured both hamstrings at various times. He opened the year as a DH, and he's been DHing again here lately with another hamstring problem.
Well, your hamstring, you need your legs. And I mean, Manny uses his legs very well, and a hitter needs his legs. I tell you, one thing I'm noticing here, you never like to hang a curveball inside or throw it inside if you're a right-hander pitching to a right-handed hitter. But Mussina, his curveball, they can't see the spin on it, and it buckles their knees. So his is not really a hanger when he throws it inside like that.
He changed up that time. Ramirez got a piece of it.
We saw him strike Alcantara out on a curveball that buckled his knees. It started inside. We have not seen a right-hander swing at that breaking ball inside because it starts right at them, and you freeze for a second because you can't see the spin on it.
Strike three call to the inside corner. One away. And an update from San Diego with Dave Revson.
Oh, John, this one is finally over. The Padres have beaten Arizona. Ryan Klesko taking Byung-Hyun Kim deep in the bottom of the 13th. So the Giants pick up a game on the D-backs as Arizona falls 1-0.
Wow. The San Diego Padres took 3 out of 4 from Arizona over the weekend at Qualcomm Stadium. Byung-Hyun Kim, the Arizona closer, gave it up. Last night he gave up a grand slam. As the Padres came from behind from a 5-1 deficit in the 8th inning, they scored 6 runs in the 8th inning last night and beat them 7-5. So the Giants are 2 games out with the Dodgers in the National League West. And they can hold their lead against the Cardinals and move to within 3 games. Dante Bichette, big, strong right-handed hitter. He struck out swinging his first time. Fastball. I say fastball, but obviously that was a changeup. Yeah.
Well, truthfully, when you watch his fastball, it's got some hop on it, John. And we saw that earlier in the game that he had a good fastball. I mean, his fastball really kind of has a second stage to it tonight.
He's only gone to as many as 3 balls on a hitter 1 time out of the 13 he's faced. That's in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike to Bichette. The modern structure in Fenway Park, the 600 Club. And they sit indoors here at Fenway to watch the ball game.
I've been there. It's really nice over there, John. Good food.
So you like to schmooze over there when you're not working a game?
Yeah, I was there once.
Oh, man, look at that curveball.
That's what I'm talking about. See, you can't swing at that ball because it starts at you, and if you do not read a curveball that starts at you, your first reaction is to move. See, this ball starts at him. It's pretty high as well. See, it's not a sharp breaking curveball down as he's thrown. It starts up, but because it starts inside, you have to leave there. So it's not a hanger when he throws it in there.
The veteran Mike Mussina, longtime Baltimore Oriole, acquired by the Yankees as a free agent in the offseason. Mussina waiting for Bichette, who backed out on it. 2-2 the count to Dante. 1 out, nobody on. Mussina 8 strikeouts in 4 in the 3rd innings. Bichette bounces that one foul. A changeup.
But I guess, John, if I was the hitting instructor against a guy like Mussina, I would tell him they'd have to pick out a pitch. I don't think you can just hit what you see when a guy is throwing as well as he's throwing tonight. When Roger Clemens is on his game, you have to pick out a pitch. You can't say, I'm going to look for the ball and make adjustments, because you can't pick up the spin that way. In doing that, you have to either sit on a fastball or look for something off speed.
Bichette backs away again. A little battle of wits here between Bichette and Mussina.
Normally, as a hitter, you just try to hit what you see. You look for the fastball and adjust to the curveball. I don't think you can do that against a guy like Mussina who's throwing as well as he is today.
From third base, Velarde. And Tino started to go up after it, but didn't need to. That is out number 2. Coming up Wednesday, ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, Luis Gonzalez and Barry Bonds, 250 home run hitters head-to-head at Pacific Bell Park. That's the second half of the doubleheader, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Prior to that, the red-hot Houston Astros, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, Lance Berkman, Moises Alou, they take on Ken Griffey Jr. and the young rookie sensation Joe Adam Dunn. 7 o'clock, 4 Pacific. All of that on ESPN, the Wednesday night doubleheader.
John, I think the last pitch we saw to Dante Bichette was an example of what I was talking about. Bichette's a veteran, and I think he was looking for a breaking ball. He got it, and he actually hit it pretty hard. I think when a guy's throwing as well as Mussina is, you have to think along with him. If you're a veteran, you're smart enough to do that, and you can make adjustments to what he's doing to you.
Brian Daubach has got 18 home runs, fouls one away, and he's down on the count 0-2. He struck out looking his first time. Nobody has hit the ball out of the infield for the Red Sox yet. They've sent 14 men to the plate. 8 of them have struck out, and the other ones have hit either ground balls to the infield or, in the case of Alcantara in the first inning, he lined one to infielder Derek Jeter. 0-2 to Daubach. Carl Everett not in the lineup tonight. There's the sharp breaking ball. 1-2 the count. Everett's got a little knee problem that has hampered him in the outfield. But also he's not had any success with Mussina in the past, so he's not in there. The best way to use Everett right now would be as a DH with his knee problem, except Ramirez has got a hamstring problem and he has to DH. Strike 3 call. And this time Daubach is unhappy about it. He got called out on a similar pitch his first time. 9 strikeouts. Mussina has been perfect through 5.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel, is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. And by MetLife. Have you met life today?
Yankees nothing, Red Sox nothing. Top of the 6th inning, top of the order for the Yankees. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. Our 12th year of Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Here's Chuck Knobloch to lead off for New York. He has struck out and been safe on a Mike Lansing error. He'll be followed by Derek Jeter and then David Justice. 0-0. The score has only been 1 hit in the game. That was by Tino Martinez in the second. David Cohn goes to work. Oh, look at that. I mean, Knobloch was headed back to the dugout as the curveball snapped in there for a called strike.
Well, he dropped down a little bit on that one. And it comes a little bit towards Knobloch, and then it breaks over the plate.
Came back with another one this time. Half of Knobloch's body still was heading back to the dugout.
You're right.
But he got off a pretty good swing.
Yeah, well, he opened up. The only reason he got a good swing there is because that ball was so was on the inside part of the plate. But it definitely buckled him again.
Two strikes to count. Just too low on the outside. Had to sneak one by him.
Here we go, Cody.
David Cohn. Red Sox starters in this series have not allowed a run. Frank Castillo on Friday night. Pedro Martinez yesterday. Not David Cohn. Into the 6th inning of this one. That goes to Lansing. His throw will not be in time. A dive by Hillenbrand. And it was just beyond him. So Knobloch gets an infield hit.
Well, David Cohn was very upset with himself because he was way ahead in the count. He had buckled him with twice. Now he doesn't throw him another curveball. He throws a sinker or maybe a splitter. He can't tell exactly what it was, but he did not get it where he wanted it. And no play. Hillenbrand dove for it. He had the only chance to make the play. No chance to get Knobloch after it passed Hillenbrand.
Here's Jeter. Now, I thought Jeter should have gotten credit for a hit his first time, but it was scored an error on Lansing. He hit into a force play his last time. Officially, he's 0 for 2 in the game. And it's 0-1. He foul tipped that one, a curveball.
Well, in good position. I think that's why Cone was so upset. He probably said to himself, I should have thrown that pitch to Knobloch with 2 strikes.
Both of the hits that Cone has allowed were on 0-2 counts.
Right.
Tito Martinez hit an 0-2 pitch to center for a base hit in the second. Knobloch, who was a threat to steal. And Cone, mindful of that, moves it back to the bag. Daubach on the bag with it. You know, Derek Jeter scored 98 runs this year. So he needs 2 more to reach 100. When he gets there, it will be the 6th straight year. I mean, every year of his career since his rookie year, he would have reached 100. And that would put him in select company. This should be 2. Maloney to second 1. Lansing to first. 2. Double play.
That was handled nicely at second base because I wasn't sure if Lansing was going to come across the bag or if Merloni was going to try to take it himself, but they handled it perfectly there. A lot of times when the ball's hit near the bag, you might see a second baseman take this and run toward the bag, but he gave him a nice toss that he could handle, and he turned his gun loose to get Jeter at first. Knobloch has to get down, and a nice double play there by the Red Sox.
And Jeter really hustled, and it was a very close play. At first he was clearly out, but
and that's probably why Merloni did the wise thing of giving it to the shortstop. He has coming toward the bag, he could get more on the throw than you could going and touching it yourself as the second baseman.
0-1 to Justice, who was popped to short and grounded to first. Derek Jeter, when he gets 2 more runs, will become one of only 3 players to have scored at least 100 runs in 6 straight years, starting with his rookie year. Ted Williams was the last one to do it. He did it for 8 straight years. Actually, Johnny Pesky, another Red Sox player, did it in his first 6 years. Ted Williams did it for his first 8 years. And a former Yankee great leadoff man during the Murderers Row days back in the 20s and 30s, Earl Coombs did it. The guy who was setting up a lot of RBIs for Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. And Derek Jeter, just 2 more runs needed to do it. But Jeter, like his teammates, they've been unable to figure out David Cone tonight. This is starting to look like a vintage David Cone performance.
Well, we said at the beginning, you know he'd be up to pitch against the Yankees. And he's had all of his equipment with him tonight, especially his control.
Backdoor curveball, that missed outside. Meanwhile, Mussina has been, up to this point, just a little bit better. He has not allowed so much as a base runner yet.
Now here's a breaking ball that starts off the plate. It doesn't get back in time.
2 down, nobody on. 2-2 to the dangerous David Justice. Struck him out. He changed up on him. David Cone with 6 strikeouts in 6 innings, trying to carry the Red Sox and keep them alive in their fading pennant race chances.
Like that kind of effort, don't you, John?
Yeah. Gary Robinson. He's from the St. Louis area. In the Braves organization. He's done a great job for the Cardinals this year, part of their deep depth. And Tony La Russa is so fond of. Here's Mike Mussina, part of the Yankees' deep depth in starting pitching. Now they've been kept going all year long by the big 3 of Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte, and Mike Mussina. El Duque's been injured most of the year and did not win his first game until yesterday.
Well, he finally got one in the air.
Shea Hillenbrand out to Williams, a routine fly ball to center, but that is the first ball that the Red Sox have hit outside of the infield against Mike Mussina. The brand new Saturn light ship providing us with these aerial views of Fenway Park, piloted by Terry Dillerard and with camera operator Ed Hughes. Saturn hopes you enjoy the view and the game. And I can say we're enjoying the view. Here is Lou Merloni. Neither Red Sox fans nor Yankee fans could be enjoying the game a whole lot right now. It's filled with anxiety, especially for Red Sox fans, because this is it. I mean, they have to win. They're going to face Cleveland later this week for 3. They got to beat them. Then they got 4 at Yankee Stadium next week.
But I have to tell you, John, I mean, the way that the Red Sox pitchers have performed this week, you have a chance against anyone. I mean, they have not, as you said, their starting pitchers have not given up a run yet in this 3-game series. And that means you can match up with anyone if you can get those types of performances from your pitching staff. There's Pedro, of course. He is always going to match up well against anyone.
Pedro, who would go in game 1, he's due up next Friday at Yankee Stadium. That's back out of play. 2-1 the count to Merloni. Pedro went yesterday. Frank Castillo went 7 innings, allowed only 2 hits. And Joe Torre said, I mean, he was making it look ridiculously easy on Friday night, but then they went to the bullpen. Castillo coming back from some elbow problems. They don't like to pitch him into the 8th inning, apparently.
I think if they think about it now, they would have left him in there.
He had retired the last 14 men that he had faced, and had only thrown 89 pitches. Merloni pops it up. Soriano out, O'Neill in. O'Neill takes it. Merloni is gone. He's 0 for 2, but they've hit 2 straight balls to the outfield, Joe. So the Red Sox are taking little baby steps now, getting to Mussina, who has been perfect.
Well, I think that may have been the first 2 balls no strike count he's had where he had to give a hitter what he was looking for. He had to give in and give him a fastball.
Now Joe Oliver. Mike Mussina. He has retired the side in order 79 times this year, and that is the most in the American League. He got him chasing that looked like a hard slider, Joe.
Well, again, I mean, some of his pitches look different than what we've seen him, throw in the past. But whatever he's doing, it's working. Whenever he's tricking them with a new pitch.
Did he swing? The appeal? Yes. Bill Welke, the first base umpire, said, yeah, that was a swing. 0-2 the count to Oliver. Mussina, who leads the league in retiring the side 1-2-3, has retired the side in order in every inning of this game and has 2 down with nobody on here in the 6th. 0-0 the score. Oliver hangs on. Oliver, who was a World Series hero 11 years ago with the Cincinnati Reds, he got a game-winning hit. I think it was game 2.
Yeah, game 2
against Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah.
Bounce going past third.
Right over the bag.
0-2 the count to Oliver. The curveball buckles his knees. Strike 3 called. Mussina has been perfect through 6 innings. Wow. 10 strikeouts in 6 innings for Mussina. But nonetheless, he is not leading. It's tied. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel.
I'm going to show you why it's so difficult to hit this curveball if you're a right-hander if it starts right at you. You have to recognize that it's a curveball right about there. And so you can't see the rotation on it. If you can't see the rotation, you have to buckle. Now, when he releases it, see, there's no rotation there. You have to be able to see some to recognize the pitch. That's why I've always said to be able to be a good hitter, you have to recognize the spin on the ball, so that tells you what the ball is going to do. And if you can't see the spin on that ball there, you're not going to hit it. And it's so tight. He has such a tight spin on that curveball tonight that it looks like they're not able to recognize it. And anytime he starts it at them, they buckle.
David Cone has allowed only 2 hits. Bernie Williams, the hitter, has grounded out and flied out deep to center. 0 for 2. Big one-hopper, Daubach. He takes it himself. Bernie Williams retired. 1 away. Tomorrow, the Labor Day holiday, and ESPN will celebrate with lots of baseball, starting with the Braves at Expos. We'll see Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones up against Jose Vidro and Vladimir Guerrero on ESPN at 1 o'clock Eastern. And over on ESPN2, the Mets will be in Philadelphia. The Phillies right in the running in the National League East. And at 4 o'clock Eastern, It'll be Sammy Sosa and the Cubs up against the Florida Marlins down in Miami. And that very interesting young Marlins ball club. Then at 9 o'clock Eastern time, the St. Louis Cardinals will be in San Diego to take on the Padres, who just won 3 in a row from Arizona. And at 10 o'clock, 7 Pacific, Cal Ripken and the Orioles will be up against Jason Giambi and the Athletics from the Oakland Coliseum.
I think I might catch a plane in the morning and drive over and watch that Oakland game.
Okay, maybe if you're going, I'll go.
Let's go together. Since we're there, we might as well work, huh?
All right.
Might as well broadcast the game.
What time are you going to pick me up? Tino Martinez has singled and walked against Cone. Right to the shortstop Lansing. 2 down, one of the hardest hit balls of the night for the Yankees.
Well, this is the time, the third time up against David Cone, where the hitters, and they know how he wants to get them out, and they're making adjustments to it. They can't make any adjustments to Mussina because he's just overpowering tonight, and he doesn't have any patterns. But David Cone has had definite patterns with each one of these hitters, and they know how he's gotten them out so far in the ball game, so it's now up to them to make adjustments to what he's doing to them.
Here's Jorge Posada, Cone's former battery mate. Posada tonight has struck out twice. He's yet to have his first hit against Cone. Curveball bounce found out in 1999 when David Cone pitched a perfect game against Montreal. Near the end of the year, Cone handed out 14-karat gold watches to Posada and all the rest of his teammates, the coaches, and the Yankee staff members to commemorate the perfect game.
All of his teammates, 25?
All of them. He pitched the perfect game July 18, 1999. He was the 15th person to pitch a perfect game in the regular season at that time. Just inside of the fastball to Posada. And the interesting thing that day, as we look at Mike Mussina, Don Larson, who had pitched the only perfect game in World Series history, recreated his perfect game before the game that day at Yankee Stadium. He threw out the first pitch to Yogi Berra, who had caught the perfect game in '56. That is a base hit. Past the diving Daubach. Heading for second. Posada, here comes the throw. It's offline from Bichette, who has a strong arm. And Posada with 2 down, that's what you're supposed to try and do. Get to second base, and he made it.
Well, as I said, every hitter knows how David Cone has gotten him out in this game. David knows what's been successful, so you go to those strengths. This ball is just ripped down the line. It takes a hop over the glove of Daubach. You also have to wonder, maybe he should have been playing protecting the line a little bit more, but he got to the ball with his dive. See, he's way off the line, as you can see. And then the late innings in a tie ball game, a lot of managers like for you to, play close to the line and not allow any doubles. If he's guarding the line, he can probably get in front of that ball and knock it down. You may not be able to pick it up and retire him, but you could maybe knock it down. But they were not guarding the line, and they paid the price. I don't think he definitely wasn't out to take David out. He just wanted to decide whether David wanted to go after Paul O'Neill or the right-handed hitting Randy Velarde, who is next.
Yeah, which one would you go for?
I would go ahead and walk O'Neill personally, but I don't know what Joe Kerrigan's going to do.
See Cone now at 85 pitches thrown for the game. They are going to walk O'Neill.
I mean, I think this is the wise play. It doesn't mean that Velarde is an easy out. It just means that you have a force at each base, plus you have a right-handed hitter up. And in a tight ball game like this, I think you have to make these types of decisions. So I agree with this 100%.
Meanwhile, Velarde has just gone back to the dugout, and Nick Johnson has come out, a left-handed hitter. So
this is surprising to me.
Joe Torre is going to counter this move.
He's countering it with a young player.
There he is, Nick Johnson. Right now, the pride of the Yankees farm system. They brought him up when Tino Martinez injured his groin muscle to have a first baseman with some experience playing first base. So now Johnson is going to pinch hit.
Well, maybe Joe is telling you the importance that he's placing on this game, because I think he feels like if he can win this ball game, he can put the Red Sox behind him and start worrying about something else. But I'm still surprised because Randy Velarde is a veteran hitter and he's a pretty good hitter.
So here is Nick Johnson. He's only had one hit in his last 16 at-bats. He was called up on August the 21st. The only other runner that the Yankees have gotten as far as Posada over at second base was Jeter. He got to second base in the first inning with a steal. So here's Johnson. Change up in the dirt, knocked down by Joe Oliver. He keeps the runners right where they were. Posada still at second. Johnson hit .256 at Columbus with 18 homers and 49 runs batted in 359 at bats. He led the International League in on-base percentage. He missed all of last year with a strained muscle in his right hand. 2 men on, 2 men out. No score in the game. Sharp curveball in there for a strike. Welcome to the big leagues, Dave.
Yeah, a lot of these guys have not seen curveballs like they're seeing tonight. I know Alcantara had not seen a curveball like he saw from Mussina in AAA because they just do not have them there.
No score. An opportunity for the Yankees against Cone. Change up. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Let's take a look at this pitch, John. And it's either a changeup or a splitter. It's one of the two.
Yeah, it might have been the splitter.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been a splitter.
With our dead center camera and its elevation, sometimes we don't see
You can't see it.
the drop of the ball. 1-2 the count. Struck him out with another splitter. So the Yankees take their best shot. David Cone gives up 1 hit and strands 2. He has shut out the Yankees through 7. Now Mussina, who's been perfect to face the top of the order. Sunday night baseball from Fenway Park. The Yankees nothing, the Red Sox nothing. Last of the 7th inning, Mike Mussina to face the top of the Boston batting order, starting with Trot Nixon, who has struck out and grounded out. And the curveball in there for a called strike. Now the Yankees are not playing to guard the foul lines against the extra base hit here either.
Well, I think the Yankees are doing it because they're trying to keep the Red Sox from getting any type of a hit. So they're playing their defense straight up.
Tulo, a new third baseman, has come into the game for the Yankees after Velarde was lifted for the pinch hitter. There is Enrique Wilson. Now at third, hitting in the 8th spot of the batting order. Mike Lansing and Izzy Alcantara will be due up next. Now play has stopped for a moment because a fan has come running out onto the field. Let me just say this, a drunken fool has come running out onto the field. And look at these strikeouts. Mussina with 10 strikeouts, and here's the strikeout pitch for all 10 of them. There was Bichette in the second, and Daubach in the second. He struck out the side in that inning. Then got Lansing and Alcantara in the 4th inning. Ramirez leading off the 5th inning, and Daubach again. This time, good Daubach complained about that outside pitch. And then Oliver to end the 6th inning. 7 of those 10 strikeouts have been on called third strikes. All right, the trespasser has been whisked away. There's a strike on the outside to Nixon.
John, I guess, in our 12 years together, we haven't seen a streaker on the field anyway. Thank goodness.
Well, we wouldn't have remembered it even if we had.
Yes, I think I would have.
1-2 the count to Nixon. He fouls one away.
I'm a little surprised. I actually thought that we would see Mussina go more to the knuckle curve here in the late innings. but he still seems to have the good velocity and the movement on his fastball. So obviously he feels very comfortable with the fastball, so he's still using it.
Came into the inning having thrown 72 pitches. That's a breaking ball. Easy play for Tino Martinez. Out number 1. That's 19 in a row. Retired by Mussina. He's retired everybody he's faced.
Number 3.
Well, with 2 strikes, he throws it right on the corner. I mean, he's pinpointing that curveball right on the corner, and he gets the ground out.
It's that more of the straight dropping curveball rather than the sweeper. Cone has really featured that big sweeper several times tonight. Here's Lansing. He has struck out twice. Once looking. And the curveball for a strike.
Well, you want to throw the curveball that breaks away more to the right-handed hitter so it's going away from him. You do not want the break curveball to come in so much to the left-hander, so you throw the one that goes down more.
That one is right to the second baseman, Soriano. 2 men down in the Boston 7th.
Well, he tried to go the other way. That was a breaking ball. He kind of stayed in there on the curveball and hit it hard, but he hit it right at the second baseman.
Number 56, the left fielder, Izzy Alcantara.
You saw that one. Good job there by Lansing to stay there, but lined it right at the shortstop. Second baseman.
Now Izzy Alcantara, who has lined to short and struck out looking. And he is the 21st hitter of the game against Mussina. And Mussina has started 17 of the 21 hitters with strikes. A first pitch strike more than 80% of the time. Izzy also with power. He could lose one over the wall. Mussina made a mistake, but I can't remember too many mistakes Mussina's made so far.
No, I think the only mistake I can even think of, if you want to call it that, he threw Lansing a slider or a cut fastball early in the ball game that was up a little bit, and Lansing missed it. But other than that, they have not had very many pitches that they can handle.
Meanwhile, David Cone has given us echoes of great games and great years past. High and tight with a changeup. 2-1 the count to Alcantara. He tied the Pawtucket Red Sox, the AAA affiliate of the Red Sox, all-time franchise record with 36 home runs this year. And when you consider some of the guys who played at Pawtucket over the years, this it's some great hitters who've gone through there. Fastball challenged it, and Alcantara fouled it back.
Well, it was supposed to be a fastball away toward the outside corner. He got it in the middle of the plate, which tells you that he still has good pop on his fastball, because that was a pitch that could have been hit. See where that pitch is? Pretty much in the middle of the plate.
Here he comes, and he fouls it off. Becoming a little different arm angle that time. 2-2 the count. Mike Mussina shutting down the Red Sox. Two down, nobody on. Manny Ramirez would be next. Oh man, he got. That was a jam sandwich.
Well, I have to tell you though, I like what I see from Alcantara. I mean, this guy, he has good mechanics at the plate. I mean, this ball is off the plate inside, but you know what? He's not going to take it. He just fights it off. Mussina had gone away the last pitch, and he went out there and fouled it, so Mussina comes back inside, and he fouls it off. I mean, that's what good hitters do. They foul off great pitches until you get a good one to hit.
Curveball got him looking. Strike 3. Strikeout number 11 for Mussina. And 21 in a row. Retired at Fenway Park. He has been perfect through 7. We go to the 8th inning. 0-0.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Nextel, how business gets done. And in part by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. And by RPM Tonight. For the most complete racing news and information, weeknights on ESPN2.
Yankees nothing, Red Sox nothing. And into the top of the 8th inning we go at Fenway Park. Alfonso Soriano leads off against David Cone. And Cone's curveball, his 94th pitch of the game, is a called strike. The 94 pitches include the 4 pitches on the intentional walk to Paul O'Neill. Cone, until tonight, had not thrown a pitch in the 8th inning of a game this year for Boston. In the right center field, that is a base hit. One hop to Bichette. And that is the 3rd Yankees hit of the game, and now we go to the top of the Yankees batting order. And Soriano is the Yankees' leading base stealer.
And David Cone will allow you to get a good jump because he kind of gathers himself to throw to the plate. Well, this is supposed to be down. It was up a little bit, not a bad pitch. It was toward the outside corner. That's pretty good hitting there by Soriano. He just goes the other way and lines it in the right field for a base hit. And the question is, if you're Joe Torre, do you bunt Knobloch or do you try to give Soriano a chance to steal second base and then maybe bunt him to third base?
Well, what would be your choice?
Well, I can't, if I was managing, what I would do is I'd let him steal the base, but Joe Torre knows more about his players than I do, so
well, the Red Sox have been the worst in the game at keeping the other team from stealing. Back to the bag, Soriano. The Red Sox have given up 189 steals this year. They've thrown out 41.
If you have a play that you're just saying, I'm going to steal the base, what you do is you give the runner a chance at first to steal it, and the batter squares around to bunt. And in doing so, he holds the catcher back. And that's how you help your base stealer get another step at first base, just by squaring around the bunt and pulling the bat back. That forces the catcher to stay back instead of coming out throwing.
Chuck Knobloch has struck out, been safe on a Lansing error, and has beaten out an infield hit. Yankees have 4 hits now. For the first time tonight, the bullpen gets busy. Knobloch showing bunt, taking ball 1.
That was either to sacrifice or to keep the catcher back. In any case, I think it's a good play.
The right-hander is the veteran Derek Lowe, formerly the Red Sox closer, and the left-hander is Alan McDill, a rookie.
This is a perfect pitch to do anything you want to do on. You can hit and run. You can allow him to steal.
And Knobloch bunts at it, but fouls it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That wasn't exactly a sacrifice. It looked like he didn't square around and just give himself up.
Knobloch's got that kind of speed to try to do more than just the sacrifice. Cone, by the way, 98 pitches. His high pitch count of the year was 109 pitches at Jacobs Field, Cleveland. In that game, he threw 109 pitches in only 5 innings. Back to the bag is Soriano. See a guy like Soriano getting on base in a game like this, Joe, in 8 innings, it always makes me think of Maury Wills.
Well, he was the best that I've ever seen in these situations.
Maury was going to just take over a tight game.
He was going to steal the base. So a base stealer, you do not have to bunt him to second base. Guys that steal bases and have numbers, you have to bunt them. But a true base stealer can steal that base when everybody in the park knows he's going. And that's what Maury Wills could do.
Cone holding a long time.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to call a timeout. You can't let him just stand there and hold the ball like that if you're Knobloch.
But did you see what Soriano did when Cone broke from the stretch? He took off.
Yeah, well, then that's the hitter's fault. You cannot let the pitcher freeze the runner at first base. So the longer he holds it there, the tighter the base runner gets. He can't get a good jump. And it's up to the hitter to step out or to call timeout and keep that from happening.
The Yankees have 4 hits in this game. Cone has walked a couple have reached on errors. So they've had some base runners. The Red Sox, who've been shut out, have not had a base runner. Mussina has been perfect through 7. Well, now he helped him out. He bunted at a bad ball.
Well, again, it was not a square round sacrifice bunt.
Come on, Cody, get him now.
I mean, it's not your, normally you square around. You see, he's moving. He's on the move. He was on the move with both of those pitches, and that one was, as you said, out of the strike zone. Well, what David Cone did there, remember, from holding the ball a long time, he went very quickly there. And that's what you do to try to stop the base stealer, vary your time of delivery to the plate and how long you hold the ball. So he doesn't hold it long.
Well, they pitched out that time. Soriano wasn't running.
So that's just the opposite of what you should do on a pitch out. If you're going to pitch out, give him a chance to run. But now you're back to a good hit and run situation again.
I'm sending him now.
Yeah, but that's why you can't, to pitch out in that situation is very difficult to do, because now you put them in a perfect hit and run situation.
2-2 the count. Cone with the long hold. There goes Soriano, and it doesn't count.
Yeah, well, see, that's
again timeout taken by Knobloch. Twice Soriano's taken off when timeout had been granted.
Well, again, it's up to the hitter to do that, but he has to do it sooner. And that was a perfect situation to hit and run on, or to let him go, because you can't pitch out again. Well, you can, but
now he just ran. Why not?
No, you can't pitch out again.
Don Zimmer alongside Joe Torre.
Well, because if he doesn't go, then you're in an automatic hit and run situation again. Plus, it's 3-2. There's too many things that go against you.
Folks had good success just standing there holding.
Well, when you hold the ball, John, it's the guy at first base. It's just impossible. It's tougher. I shouldn't say impossible. It's tougher to read his rhythm of when he's going to break and go to the plate.
The great competitor, David Cone. How many times did we see when he was a Yankee, Joe, in big ball games, critical games, and Cone rose to the occasion? Like the 1996 World Series against Atlanta, when they had to win after losing the first 2. Soriano runs. Knobloch in the air to center. Trot Nixon. Plenty of room back there. That's the triangle.
Well, that's a tough play right there, because if he wasn't going on that pitch, he could have tagged up and gone to second base on that fly ball. But because he was running, he wasn't going to have time to get back, tag up, and advance to second base. That ball was deep enough that if he wasn't going on the pitch, he could have tagged up. Well, it's a perfect time to send him. You send him 2-2, you send him 3-2, because everything is in your favor, and you're actually moving runners. Moving fielders. You get somebody out of position. But you see Nixon takes this ball going away. No way he would have been able to stop, turn, and keep Soriano from tagging up and going to second base if he would not have been running on the pitch.
So a wasted at bat for Chuck Knobloch. And a quick throw to first by Cone, and there was a close play.
Well, it's a wasted at bat in the sense that Joe Torre wanted him to bunt.
Wanted him to move that runner over.
Move him over, and he didn't do that.
Now, the 8th inning has been the inning of truth for these two clubs in this series. The Yankees were trailing 1-0 into the 8th inning, both Friday night and yesterday afternoon, and mounted comebacks in the 8th inning of both games. Here is Jeter. Jeter is 0 for 3. And Soriano back. Now, because Knobloch did not get him to second base, Joe, it seems like this is really a steal situation for him to just get there now.
Well, John, I thought it was a steal situation from the beginning, because that's what you use your speed if you want, and Joe Torre does that quite often. You see a close play at first base, but Joe Torre uses his speed a lot.
A strike on the outside to Jeter. I mean, David Cohn has used about every trick that he's learned over his rather extensive career here to keep Soriano from getting a jump from first base.
Well, he goes very quickly here. What he did here is he just came to a set position and threw. He's been coming to a set position and holding the ball. So that's the way you can upset a base runner's rhythm.
Soriano back to the bag.
But as the base runner, you have to figure out, what has he been doing to me? What is he doing? And you have to adjust to that. It's just like being a hitter. If a guy changes what he's doing to you, you have to adjust to it. He changes what he normally does.
Cohn has made 6 throws to first since Soriano got over there. 0-1 to Jeter. Got him chasing the breaking ball. Quickly Jeter behind to the count, 0-2. David Justice, a left-handed hitter, is on deck.
And like you say, Cohn has used all of his tricks, because in most cases with a base stealer on first base, you throw all hard stuff, and I think that's why he got Jeter off balance. Jeter is looking for a fastball or a hard slider, and he threw him a slow curveball.
And he almost picked off Soriano.
Well, Maury Wills always said, if you didn't have to dive back and it wasn't a close play, you didn't have a big enough lead. And he still doesn't have a big lead. It just took him a long time to get back there, but he is safe.
If Darback been a left-handed fielding first baseman, he might have gotten it. Jeter is down on strikes. David Cohn, since the leadoff single, has kept Soriano at first and has retired the top 2 hitters in the Yankees batting order. First Knobloch and now Jeter.
I don't know if I've seen Jeter chase pitches like he did these last 2. I mean, that pitch is clearly almost a 1.5 feet off the plate. So was the second strike. I mean, he chases it way across the plate. I mean, he even goes across the plate trying to catch up with it.
Jeter had been 4 for 4 against Cohn earlier this year. And as he struck out chasing that curve outside, he looks back over his shoulder at his old teammate, David Cohn.
I'm not sure he was looking at Cohn, John. I think maybe he was looking at Soriano. Because Soriano made a kind of a break, and sometimes that's distracting to a hitter if you can see him out of the corner of your eye. And I think maybe that's what happened on that last pitch with Jeter.
No score, top of the 8th, 2 down. And the powerful Justice. He's 0 for 3 in the game. Soriano runs. The throw by Oliver is too late. So after all of that, Soriano has stolen second base and gotten himself into scoring position.
Well, he timed it perfectly there. He had a good jump. Well, this is a good throw by Oliver, right on the money, but clearly it's late.
Mike Mussina, who has been so powerful tonight, a perfect 7 innings, been sitting in the dugout for a long while here with the Yankees batting. In the dirt on the changeup or maybe the splitter, knocked down nicely by Joe Oliver. 1 ball and 1 strike.
This is a tough situation here, because if you give in to Justice, and that doesn't mean just throw him a fastball in the middle of the plate. If you give in to him by giving him a curveball or any of your pitches that he can have a good swing at, then you're going to be in trouble, because Justice is not up there trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark now. He's a smart hitter. He'll just be trying to hit a line drive someplace.
1-1 the count. Tried the curve up and away. Now, neither pitcher has given up a run in this game, but they've gone about it in much different ways. Cohn with that typical determined workmanlike approach, bending but not yielding. Mussina has never been better. He has been perfection. Has not allowed a single Red Sox base runner. Soriano with a long lead from second. And it's too low. 3-1.
Clearly, John, we've seen 2 different approaches to pitching. We've seen David Cohn be more of a pitcher. We've seen Mussina just overpower the Red Sox with basically 2 pitches, his fastball and his curveball. We've seen Cone use a variety of pitches, changing speeds, although Mussina has changed speeds as well, but he's still overpowering. This is a tough pitch for David Cone to have to throw right here.
And it's too low.
Well, I think he decided, and probably a good idea. He knows Bernie Williams and he knows David Justice. And I have to tell you, if I was in that situation, I definitely wouldn't have given David Justice a pitch that was close to the plate for him to handle.
Well, John Cumberland has been sent out to the mound by Joe Carrigan. And they'll talk it over here with Bernie Williams, the switch hitter coming up. Bernie 0 for 3 in the game, has grounded to second, fly deep to center, and grounded to first.
Well, John, with what has happened the first 2 games of this series with the starters, I don't see how you can take David Cone out. He's going to have to be behind in the ball game before they take him out.
The starters in this series, 20 2/3 shutout innings. The relievers who were used in the first 2 games, 5 innings, 5 runs, 10 hits allowed. Castillo pitched 7 shutout innings and was removed before the 8th on Friday. Pedro, still coming back from his long spell on the disabled list, went 6 innings, shutting out the Yankees yesterday before they went to the bullpen.
I will find out here what David Cone thinks is Bernie Williams' weakness.
Bernie hit a home run in the 9th inning yesterday. Curveball. 1 ball and no strikes.
He will tell you by the way that he approaches him what he thinks he has to do to get Bernie out.
Soriano at second with great speed. Justice is at first. Soriano, the possible go-ahead run here for the Yankees. And Bernie Williams, the Yankees' best hitter, trying to bring him home. 2 down, 8th inning. Center field, Nixon going back. All the way back to the wall. Jumps up and makes the catch. David Cone with another gritty, sensational performance, keeping the Red Sox breathing against the Yankees, the team for which he did this very thing so many times. Now Mussina back to the hill. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. We got quite a game going for you tonight. The Yankees nothing, the Red Sox nothing, and I mean nothing. Mike Mussina has not allowed a thing. No hits, no walks, nothing. No base runners. But here is Manny Ramirez, one of the greatest hitters in the game, to try and get something going for the Red Sox.
It appears to me that Manny is a little closer to the plate than he normally is. And I think that's why you see Mussina throw so many pitches inside.
Ramirez tonight has struck out twice, both times looking. Curveball in the dirt. 2-0. Mussina carried a no-hitter into the 8th inning a couple of different times previously. In this game against Cleveland, May 30th, 1997, he had a no-hitter into the 9th inning of that game. And a big cut by Ramirez and a foul. He gave up a single with 1 out in the 9th to Sandy Alomar. After retiring the first 25 hitters, he had been perfect up until 1 out in the 9th inning. That was at Camden Yards. Then he struck out the last 2 hitters and finished up with a 1-hitter in that game. He had a no-hitter through 7 innings. At Milwaukee later that year, Jose Valentin hit a... Tonight he's gone to a 3-ball count only 1 time. He is 2-1 here to Manny Ramirez. And his second 3-ball count. Now, he's got more to worry about than just the perfect game. Well, because his club is in a 0-0 tie.
I have to tell you, John, I know it may sound a little strange, but I don't think he has anything else to worry about. If you're Joe Torre and you're his teammates, you say don't worry about anything else. I mean, that's the way I feel at this point. You say if just you go for it. I mean, he's earned the right, in my opinion, to go for it. He's pitched well for this team. They're 8 games up. Now, if this was the last day of the season, we're in a tie pennant race, I would agree with you. But I think all of his teammates right now are saying, you go for it.
Enrique Wilson over at third base, guarding the foul line. 8th inning of a tie game. Mike Mussina with a 3-2 count to the dangerous Ramirez. Popped it off the fists. Jeter is back into shallow center. One away. A great pitch to a great hitter. And Ramirez is the 22nd consecutive hitter retired by Mussina.
And again, I just think that Manny would look like he's been pretty vulnerable to the pitch inside all night because he's pretty close to the plate. This pitch is off the plate. You can see that. I mean, it's way inside. But Manny, because he's as close as he tries to get to it, he can't get to it. But a good pitch by Mussina, especially with 3 and 2. He definitely, and I think he was going for it because he definitely did not want to give Manny something out over the plate that he could handle.
Dante Bichette has struck out and grounded out to third. Center field. Bernie Williams. Out number 2. The very first inning may have been the hardest hit ball tonight against Mussina with 2 down and nobody on. The rookie Alcantara hit this one. And right to Jeter. Well, Joey, we haven't had anybody make a diving catch. There haven't been any extraordinary plays behind him. 2 down. Here is Daubach, who's been called out on strikes twice. Mussina had only 93 pitches thrown for the game. Daubach, another guy who could lose one. He got 18 home runs. When Cone pitched his perfect game in 1999, he threw only 88 pitches against the Expos. Daubach fouling one back.
But I would hesitate to think that he wouldn't have struck out as many as Mussina has. Mussina has 10 strikeouts. That causes you to 11 strikeouts, causes you to throw more pitches than you would if you're just mowing guys down 1, 2, 3 with ground balls and pop-ups.
2 down, nobody on. 0-2 the count to Daubach. He has been called out on strikes on that outside pitch. The last time he argued about it. He thought it was too far outside. So if you're Mussina, you've got him looking at that outside pitch. Do you go back to it again here with 2 strikes?
Well, I guarantee you Mussina remembers that. And so does the catcher, Posada, but they're going inside.
Strike 3 called. He got him looking for the 3rd time. Maybe Daubach also remembered. And this time, they went to a different spot. That's 12 strikeouts from Mussina. He has retired 24 in a row. We're going to the 9th, and the Red Sox don't have a hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. And don't forget, for the most extensive coverage of Major League Baseball, log on to MLB.com. Major League Baseball. Connect with it. The view from high above as David Cone goes back to work in the 9th inning. Tino Martinez takes a called strike from Cone. That was the 111th pitch of the night from Cone. This is the first time since he pitched a perfect game in 1999 that he has gone into the 9th inning of a game. Remember, after he got that perfect game, he finished that year in a slump and then had a horrible year last year. Derek Lowe up in the Boston bullpen. 9th inning, no score. Tino Martinez is single to center. He's walked and he's lined out to short. Swinging the bat well against Cone. A bloop into center, and he's got his 2nd hit. And Joe, the question is, I mean, how much does Cone have left to give at age 38?
Well, I think he's still throwing well. I mean, that last pitch, he threw it exactly where he wanted. He hit Martinez on the fist, but
Number
Martinez
20,
gets a base hit. You have to give the hitter credit sometimes.
Jorge
This is a good pitch by
Mussina.
Cone, so you have to give the hitter credit. He jams him, and there's a little flare in the center field.
Tino does not present the kind of problems that Alfonso Soriano presented when he led off in the 8th inning of the single. Tino is not a base stealer. Jorge Posada. He's the one who hit the 2-run homer in the 8th inning Friday when Boston was leading 1-0 in the 8th inning.
And I think that was a check by Cone to see if Posada was going to be bunting. He wasn't afraid that Martinez would be running, although Joe Torre has a choice of putting Martinez in motion and letting Posada hit. I don't think you'll bunt when you're at the bottom of the order like this. If he bunts, they're going to walk Paul O'Neill, and then you're going to have Enrique Wilson up there.
It's a ball outside. 1 ball and no strikes to Posada.
But I think what you can do is get into a hit-and-run situation here and put the runner in motion. And if Posada doesn't get a hit, you still can advance the runner a base.
Posada has struck out twice tonight, and then he got his first hit against Cone, a double past first base in the 7th inning. Curveball popped up, coming in from left field. Alcantara. And that is out number 1.
Another good pitch by Cone. He missed with the first pitch, so if you're Posada, you're looking for something hard and maybe that you can pull in the hole. And he fooled him with a high breaking ball.
21, the right fielder.
It's a high breaking ball. It's a strike. And Posada goes after it. A little surprised that he swung at that, but he did. And Cone gets another out.
David Cone has given up 5 hits, no runs. Great performance, his best as a member of the Red Sox, his best, well, probably his best since his perfect game. 2 years ago, July the 18th of '99. Martinez back to the bag.
O'Neill's a lot tougher hitter in this situation with that hole on the right side. It takes away some of the things that David Cone can do to him because he doesn't want him to hit the hole.
Backdoors him with a curve and misses. 1 ball and no strikes.
And if he hits the ball in the hole over there, Martinez could possibly go to third and he end up with runners at first and third. And O'Neill takes advantage of that hole very well, so he's going to have to try to keep him from pulling the ball in that hole, in the hole on between first and second.
Mike Mussina in the dugout, and he has been perfection itself tonight for 8 innings. Well, you said you thought he was going to throw pretty well, and he proved it right there.
Yeah, well, he was at, that's 89 miles an hour. He threw a fastball to Tino at 89 miles an hour, so he still has a good fastball. I'm sure he's reaching back a little bit to get it. It's not as easy as it was in the first inning, but we're also in the 9th inning, and sometimes you have to reach back a little bit more.
Mike Mussina at age 32. The Yankees knew when they got him that he was already one of the premier pitchers at the height of his game. And it goes through. Merlone could not handle it. A possible double play ball to end the inning. Instead, it could be a critical mistake, perhaps a fatal mistake. O'Neill is aboard, Martinez over to third.
Well, Cone did what he wanted to do. He did not let O'Neill pull the ball in the hole. And this is one of the shortcomings of the Red Sox, their defense. I mean, overall, their defense is not a good defense. This ball is hit sharply. This ball is hit hard now. Make no mistake about it. He can't get in front of it, or he tried, looked like he tried to get in front of it. Since he couldn't get in front of it, he probably would have been better off trying to backhand it. But he tried to catch it with the glove facing, and there was no way he could catch the ball in that situation.
Well, here comes Joe Kerrigan.
Well, they have to.
McDill, the left-hander. Derek Lowe, the right-hander. You've got the switch hitter, Enrique Wilson, coming up here. Wilson, who has not batted in the game yet. And Kerrigan with a big conference on the mound. Most of the infielders all gathered around David Cone with the manager. Cone used to have an understanding with Joe Torre when he was with the Yankees that he would level with him and tell him if he was spent or if he still had enough left to get the job done. And he apparently convinced Kerrigan that he's got enough left.
Well,
now the Yankees are going to make a move at third base. Clay Bellinger is the pinch runner at third base for Tino Martinez.
Well, I have to say I agreed with the other times of leaving David Cone in there. And he's pitched his heart out, but I think you're at a point where you have to have a strikeout or you have to have a tough situation, and I'm not sure that he can get the strikeout in this situation.
Enrique Wilson, the hitter. Runners at first and third. The middle infield double play death. 1 ball to no strikes. Well, in that classic Roger Clemens Pedro Martinez matchup at Yankee Stadium, Memorial Day weekend of last year, Joe, a game that we had the great pleasure to work. That was scoreless until the 9th inning. And then Trot Nixon hit the home run against Clemens. It proved to be the winner. Pedro Martinez, who told us right after the game that he was just about out of gas, toughed it out and got through the 9th inning. Curveball. That is by the first baseman, Daubach. And the Yankees have scored the first run of the game. Bellinger scores. Over to third base is O'Neill, and into second with a double is Enrique Wilson. Enrique Wilson, who started the year with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was slumping and the team was slumping. But now with the New York Yankees against David Cone, he breaks open a 0-0 game in the 9th inning.
Number 33.
It began with the error on a possible double play ball hit by Paul O'Neill. This could have been the end of the inning.
Well, again, I mean, it's not an easy play, but it's a play that in this type of game that you need to make, and it wasn't made. And again, I just didn't think he had enough left to strike Wilson out or to get him out, and I'm not happy that I was right. I just think that there comes a time when you have to reach back and take the guy out. He pitched his heart out. He pitched great, but I just didn't think he had enough left to weather that storm.
So Cone doffs his cap to the standing ovation for the fans at Fenway, recognizing a great performance by a great competitor. We'll be back. There were two different plots going on here, the ball game itself and Mike Mussina's perfect game. Mussina watching from the Fenway Park visitors dugout. His team has, here in the 9th inning, given him the lead. The infield comes in with 3 infielders playing on the left side as Derek Lowe pitches to Alfonso Soriano. They're playing in, but they got 3 infielders on the left of second. There is O'Neill at third base. Enrique Wilson, who got the big hit, the double to drive in the first run of the game. And almost hit Soriano. 1 ball, 1 strike. The only infielder on the right side is the first baseman Daubach, as we see Lowe's numbers for the year.
Well, the reason you do that, John, is because Lowe's ball sinks in on the right-hander, and they figure he's going to pull it. If he hits the ground ball, he's going to pull it to the left side.
And he bounced that one.
Yeah, see, his ball sinks in, so I think it's worth the gamble. I mean, I think it's worth the gamble.
David Cone. When Cone pitched that heroic effort to try to keep the Yankees alive in the 1995 Division Series with Seattle, only to falter after you'd thrown over 140 pitches. The broken bat grounder goes foul. The bat went further than the ball. The bat made the outfield grass behind shortstop. Soriano.
See how his ball runs in on the right-hander, so if he hits it a ground ball, he's going to pull it to the left side, and that's why you put the 3 fielders on that side of the diamond. Although I must say, I think they're playing, they look like they're playing all close together. See how close these two are. You maybe be a little bit up the middle because they're actually covering the same territory right there. But I like the idea of what he's doing.
1-2 the count. 1 run already in. He struck him out. And that's what he needed right there.
Well, it's good pitching by Lowe, because if he would have hit a ground ball, if he's going to hit it to the left side, and he's hitting to the teeth of the defense, so to speak, because everything he's watching, everything's running in on Soriano. If he hits it, he has to pull it. So that was good pitching there by Lowe.
Now Lowe to face Chuck Knobloch, who is 1 for 4 in the game. A big error, and you hate to see that in a game like this, for the game to turn on a mistake. Knobloch fouls it off, and it is 0-1.
One of the most underrated things, I think, in the game today, with all the home runs and all the scoring and everything that's done, is defense overall. I think you make mistakes sometimes, and it costs your team 2 or 3 runs. I mean, in the past, you might make a mistake, cost you 1 run, but now you open the floodgates, it seems, when you give a team an extra out.
A ball had come out of the stands onto the field, so Derek Lowe went over to retrieve it near the first baseline. Timeout was taken. Runners at second and third. Lowe in a critical spot here just to keep his club still with hopes in this game, and by extension this season. 0-1 the count. And 1 ball, 1 strike. You know, David Cone, when he gave it up in that playoff game in '95, and subsequently the Yankees lost the game, the Mariners moved on, the Yankees went home. And Cone was so upset with what he perceived as mistakes that he had made that he became a hermit in his apartment in Manhattan. You couldn't see him. He wouldn't go out in the streets. He was holed up in there. Breaking for the plate with the 2 down. There's no need, and the throw to first is in time. A nice play at first base by Daubach, who then got clobbered by Knobloch, but he held on to the ball. And a nice play by him 2 different times there. So the Yankees get only the 1 run as Hillenbrand throws out Knobloch. And now Mike Mussina, who has a perfect game going into the 9th inning. 1-0. The Yankees have gone ahead. Let's see if that's enough for Mussina. Let's see if Mussina can remain perfect. From high above Fenway Park, this view provided by the Saturn Lightship. Saturn's new airship is proud to bring you these views of Fenway Park from Boston. Saturn, hoping you enjoy the view, and Major League Baseball, and perhaps a bit of Major League history in the making. Troy O'Leary is a pinch hitter for Shea Hillenbrand. And it is 0-1, the foul tip into the glove of the catcher, Jorge Posada. There's a new first baseman in the game for the Red Sox, is O'Leary, hitting .254. There's Clay Bellinger. He pinch hit for Tino Martinez and stays into play first. Troy O'Leary got some power. Mussina misses. Mike Mussina, 1 other time in his career, carried a perfect game into the 9th inning. We mentioned it earlier. Against the Cleveland Indians. 1997, with all of those sluggers. Sandy Alomar got the first hit with 1 out in the 9th, and it was the only hit. Back to the screen. Mussina coming right after.
Well, that was 90 miles an hour, and I tell you what, this is the time that you just reach back for whatever you have if you're going to throw a fastball. You don't worry so much about location. You just want to have your best stuff coming to the plate.
The last time a no-hitter was pitched at Fenway Park was 36 years ago, 1965 in September. Off the outside, it was Dave Moorhead for the Red Sox against Cleveland. The last time a no-hitter was pitched against the Red Sox at Fenway was in July of 1958 by Senator Jim Bunning. 43 years ago. 2-2 the count. That is a diving play by Bellinger, and Mussina's got the put out. And that is the first close call of the night. And Bellinger just put in, after he ran for Tino Martinez, was up to the job.
Well, so was Mussina. He got over there very quickly. I mean, a lot of times the ball hit this hard, you take a split second to look, and if he would have done that, O'Leary would have beat him to first base. But here you see O'Leary is not going to beat Mussina to first base on this play. Nice play there by Bellinger. And even though we're in a one-run ball game, the Yankees are not guarding the line. They're playing straight up, and they should be.
Now Lou Merlone, who is 0 for 2. Curveball, a strike. The one run in this game was an unearned run. And unfortunately, it was Merlone's error on a possible double play ball, although a hard hit ball by O'Neill. High and tight with a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Merlone given a chance here to make something happen after his error. Roger Clemens looking on. He had some of his best stuff of the year on Friday night in winning his 18th game. 1 out, 9th inning. And now 2 strikes to Merlone. The last 2 perfect games in the majors were both pitched by the Yankees. David Cone had the last one in July of '99, and David Wells in May of '98. Both of those were at Yankee Stadium. Carl Everett has come out on deck. 1 out. The 1-2 pitch. Struck him out with a curveball. The tag out by Posada, who picked it out of the dirt. And Mussina, with his 13th strikeout, has retired 26 in a row. And David Cone, who was there just 2 years ago in the Yankee pinstripes, looks on.
Now batting for Oliver, number 2, Carl Everett.
And the Yankee reaction. Mike Mussina, this is the closest he's ever come. 1 out away from a perfect game. And Carl Everett, a tough hitter, a dangerous hitter. Also the possible tying run. Check swing foul. Everybody in Fenway Park on their feet. Everett, who's got a bad knee that's been plaguing him. As always, he gets right on top of the plate. The outfield is straight away. He chased the high fastball. And now Mussina is just 1 strike away. And the tension shows even from the dugout on Roger Clemens. He checked his swing that time. He came right back with the same pitch. Is into left center, base hit. He tried it yet again, and this time Everett put it in play. The first hit of the night, the first base runner. Mussina was just 1 strike away from a perfect game, and Everett departs, lifted for a pinch runner. Darren Lewis is the pinch runner, representing the possible tying run. You see Mussina's disappointment, and now Clemens. Carl Everett, he had a different reaction. "29 years ago today, Milt Pappas, then of the Cubs, retired the first 26 hitters. And then he walked a pinch hitter, but retired the next hitter of the Padres to get the no-hitter. Now Mussina tries to settle on a 1-hitter. It's still a matter of the game to win. Trot Nixon, the man who beat Clemens in that classic game last year at Yankee Stadium with a 9th inning homer. Back to the bag at first is Lewis. Lewis has some speed and he can steal a base here. The Red Sox just trying to keep some glimmer of hope alive in this pennant race. If they lose, they will be 9 games out with only 27 to play. Trot Nixon is 0 for 3 in the game. The slider is low. Nixon has 1 hit in 25 career at-bats against Mussina. 2-0.
Well, it's very difficult for Mussina to get his composure back. I mean, he was within 1 strike of a perfect game. And that's why you saw the pitching coach go out. Everyone went out to talk to him to get him back on track. But he's missed with the first 2 pitches here.
The Yankee bullpen is busy. That's a foul. 2-1 now to Trot Nixon. The last time, as you see, Ramiro Mendoza up in the bullpen. We got a string of right-handed hitters to follow Nixon. The last time the Yankees pitched a no-hitter at Fenway Park was 1 year before the Red Sox won their last World Series. It was 1917. George Mogridge. He swung at it. 2-2. Now the Red Sox are 1 strike away from being swept in their home yard, just as was the case last year around this same time. The Yankees came in a year ago and swept the Sox, left them for dead. And Nixon fouls it off again.
Well, I think it's always easy to look back, and I'm sure Mussina will play that pitch over and over in his mind, you know, because he felt like if he went up the ladder, he could get Everett, but the ball wasn't high enough. It was in the strike zone. And I guess he'll wonder in his mind whether he should have tried to bounce a curveball with 2 strikes. Those are the things you think about after the game.
Trying to curve there. 3-2 to count. He had only gone to 3 balls and a hitter 2 other times tonight. So now the possible tying run. Lewis at first base. Darren Lewis will take off. So on a tweener, he would likely score. The runner goes, and the curve is punched foul into the seats off to the left. Mike Mussina, 32 years old, from the small town of Montoursville, Pennsylvania, near Williamsport, where the Little League World Series was played. He coaches at the high school in the offseason. His first year in the big city with the Yankees, after spending his entire career in Baltimore, and for the second time coming up just a bit short with a bid for a perfect game. Now trying to win the game at least. The runner goes. The ball is bounced to Soriano, and a bad throw, but Bellinger with the tag, and the game is over. So Bellinger bails the Yankees out twice in the inning, saving the perfect game and then saving the win. And Mike Mussina wins his 14th of the year. Roger Clemens, one of the first out of the dugout, as the receiving line congratulates the Moose, Mike Mussina. And he was 1 out away from history at Fenway Park.
Well, obviously you can't get any closer than that. And, you know, he'll again replay that pitch in his mind over and over. It's a high fastball, and it catches the top of the strike zone. I think this pitch was supposed to be higher. You could see Posada was set up in a different situation, and the pitch just wasn't high enough and out of the strike zone. And you see Soriano throws high to first base. Nice play by Bellinger as he reaches and tags Nixon trying to come by.
Clay Bellinger, his first game this year at first base. He saved the perfect game, but then finally saved the win. The Yankees win it over David Cone on an unearned run. A bitter disappointment for Cone, but a proud night nonetheless for him. And for Mike Mussina, as Joe said, perhaps thoughts of what might have been. The Yankees win it. They're 9 games up. John Miller for Joe Morgan from Fenway Park. Good night.